Hello guys, welcome back to my channel and enjoy this fanfic part 2. Let's start the fanfic. Alright, let's go then, said Naruto. A girl wearing the red dress with Uchiha crest was looking at something. She had black hair and red glasses. Uchiha crest, said Sasuke. Doesn't that mean, said Shikamaru. Congratulations, Sasuke, said Kakashi. I'm a father, said Sasuke. Who is the mother? Thought Sakura and Ino. A boy with yellow hair and whisker marks was drawing, idiot, in kanji on the Hokage monument. Idiot, you are still pranking even when you are an adult, said Sakura, hitting him on his head. How do you know that it's me? Asked Naruto. Who else could it be? Asked Sakura. Boruto, shouted a man and jumped atop the statue as Boruto jumped back. Wait, that boy is Boruto, the one who sent this? Asked Shikaku. Don't get carried away ridiculing your father, said a man with same blonde hair and whisker marks with blue eyes. His cape said 7th Hokage. Wait, is that? Said Kiba. Naruto became 7th Hokage, said Sakura. Everyone went in silence. Yahoo! I'm the Hokage, said Naruto. Yes, your youthful fire has shown you the way to the top, Naruto-kun, said Lee. No way. He is a dead last loser, fated to be a failure. I can't accept this, said Neji. Dude, I'm here and I have feelings, and beside, no matter what you say, the future won't change the fact that I'm Hokage Dadbao, said Naruto. But that's, said Neji. Neji, sometimes you must accept the things as it is, said Guy. Hey, not bad, Dobi, said Sasuke. Did I manage to kill Itachi? Thought Sasuke. See, congratulation and Naruto-kun, said Hinata. Wait, did you say that you're Boruto's father? Said Shikaku. Silence ensued. Again. I'm a father, said Naruto in surprise. I have a family, said Naruto. Jiraiya smiled. Congratulations, Naruto-kun, said Hiruzen. Naruto, well done, said Kakashi, smiling. Well, what do you know? You actually did it, boy, said Asuma. Kiba looked dejected. Don't worry, Kiba. I'm sure you are a very good shinobi by now, said Kurenai. You're the ridiculous one, said Boruto, and charged at Naruto, who blocked the kick and punched him only for Boruto to disappear in smoke. Not bad, said Inoichi. Like father like son, said Sum, laughing. A shadow clone, thought Naruto as he watched Boruto climb down Tsunade's head. What? Asked Jiraiya. Haim became the Hokage, said the third, equally surprised. Who is she? Asked Naruto. She is the third member of the Sannin and the strongest medic nin of the world, Tsunade Senju, said Tenten. Kakashi's book and Asuma's cigarette dropped from their hands as they watched Boruto run down the statues. They saw something unbelievable. I become Hokage, said Kakashi. No way, said Asuma. What the hell is going on here suddenly? The things which were supposed to be impossible is happening. Asked Jiraiya. Idiots never learn their lesson, said Sarada. Shish, said Boruto. Boruto hid in a manhole. Sarada, said Naruto, landing behind her. Lord 7th, said Sarada. Have you seen Boruto? Asked Naruto. That way, said Sarada, showing the wrong way to Naruto. Well, what do you know? She is not a prick like Utem, said Naruto. And Uchiha who is not arrogant. This is getting unbelievable, said Jiraiya. Sasuke looked at the man and glared. You just wanted him to chase after you, said Sarada. You're just upset that because he doesn't pay enough attention to you, said Sarada. You're not going to be a good father, will you? Said Ino. Suddenly Boruto found himself paralyzed. Shadow paralysis jutsu, said Sarada. Behind Boruto were Shikamaru Nara and his son Shikadai Nara. Is that you, Shika? You became a father too, said Ino. Congratulations, brat, said Shikaku. Boruto, don't make too much trouble for 7th, the Hokage is under a lot of pressure, and that goes for his advisor, me, said Shikamaru. No way, said Shikamaru. This is impossible, said Choji, dropping his packet of chips. Lord Hokage has it rough dealing with you, said Shikadai. That was just a shadow clone. The real old man is in the office, said Boruto. If Lord Seventh used Sage Mode, he will find you in a flash, said Shikamaru. What? Shouted Kakashi. What's up, Kakashi? Asked Sasuke. You brat, learn to use nature energy, said Jiraiya shocked. This is getting more and more unbelievable, said Kurenai. What is that? Asked Choji. Long story short, it will make you S rank in a flash, said Asuma. What? How can he do something like that? Asked Neji. Sarada was sitting in a cafe with her friend Cho Cho. Hey, Cho Cho, said Choji from a distance. Is that your daughter Choji? Asked Ino. Wow, I too became a father, huh? Said Choji. You look capable in the future, said Choza. How embarrassing, said Cho Cho. What's wrong with a grown-up eating potato chips as he walks around the town? Asked Sarada. That's normal for us, said Choza. Sarada was standing in front of a photo with her in it. Where are you and what are you doing? Asked Sarada. Wait, it's that photo, see the robe he is wearing, said Jiraiya. That's the Akatsuki's dress code, isn't it? Asked Kakashi. What is that? Asked Naruto. A group of S-class missing nin who are hunting for Jinchuriki, people like you and Gaara, said Kakashi gravely. Now this future looks a bit normal, said Jiraiya. You turn rogue, said Naruto slowly. You're hunting for Naruto-kun, said Lee sad. Why? Asked a broken Ino. No way, said Sakura. Kiba pounced at him. You traitor, said Kiba, and Sasuke pushed him away. Naruto was about to join him to give a poke in his as he promised, but both of them were paralyzed. What are you doing? Asked Naruto to Shikamaru. Look at the photo next to that, said the Nara. It was Sasuke and Sakura holding baby Sarada. I marry Sasuke-kun, I marry Sakura, said both of them. I'm not protecting him, but it looks like he had come back to the village, said Shikamaru. Damn traitor, said Kiba, and finally relented. We are here to change the future anyway, said Shikaku drawling. Hiruzen nodded. I'm disappointed in you, Sasuke, said Kakashi. No, I can't marry Sasuke-kun, why? Thought a broken Ino on the inside. All of them gave a cold look to Sasuke, even Naruto and Shikamaru, who were sitting beside him. Sasuke suddenly found the screen more interesting than his comrades. Hey mom, did dad wear glasses? Asked Sarada to Sakura. Ino whistled. You grew up well, forehead girl, said Ino. Ah, it means I don't marry Sakura-chan. Damn you, Sasuke, said Naruto, dropping anime tears. Well, not all fantasy can come true, said Kakashi. A certain Hyuga looked hopeful. I don't think so, probably, said Sakura. Holy shit, said Jiraiya. Now what, Jiraiya? Said Hiruzen, annoyed. Look at that seal on her forehead, said Jiraiya. No way, said Tenten. But that's, said Sum. I don't believe this, said Asuma. What is it? Asked Sakura, worried. That seal is the strength of 100 seals. It is used by Tsunade-sama and Tsunade-sama only, said Tenten enviously. That means, said Shikamaru. Yes, it looks like my cute genin has being apprenticed by Tsunade-hime, said Kakashi proudly. Really? Asked Sakura disbelievingly. But, forehead really did, said Ino, finding it hard to believe. Nice, Sakura-chan, said Naruto. You're not sure even when you're her husband, said Sarada, glaring. Hey, I was wondering, your wife and daughter are having dinner, so where are you? Asked Choji. Sasuke shrugged, ignoring the cold eyes he received after being revealed as a traitor. Why doesn't dad come home? You know where he is and what's he doing, don't you? Asked Sarada. That again, I wonder what he is doing, said Sakura. Please don't dodge the question. Whenever I asked you this, you always ignore it. How can you call yourself your wife? Said Sarada. Sarada, right now, said Sakura. First you go rogue, then you ally yourself with a group that's trying to capture me, and finally you hurt Sakura-chan, said Naruto and drew 3 kunai. I will need to give you 3 doses of Kakashi-sensei's ultimate taijutsu to make sure you don't follow the same path in the future, Dadbao, said Naruto, and Sasuke immediately paled. Not here, Naruto, said Kakashi. But sensei, said Naruto. Don't worry, after this is over, I personally will show him hell. I will make sure not to make the same mistake of taking it easy on him, said Kakashi. Sasuke finally looked for support in his future wife. You deserve that. Sorry, Sasuke-kun, said Sakura. Sasuke hung his head in defeat. Uchiha ego can't help you out of this one, boy, said Jiraiya, laughing. Mom, are you really Dad's wife? Asked Sarada. What's with all this so suddenly? Said Sakura, irritated. It's not sudden. I've been wondering for ages. Do you think you can keep on fooling me? Said Sarada. You're acting weird today, said Sarada. Seriously, where on earth are you, kid? Asked Asuma. What's weird is your relationship with Dad, and it's not just a bit, a lot, said Sarada. Sakura tightened her fists and punched the ground. Immediately the area around them shattered and was filled with craters. Yes, she has definitely become an amazing second Tsunade, said Jiraiya, grimacing. Holy shit, said Kiba. If I were you, I wouldn't anger Sakura-chan like this, Sasuke, said Naruto fearfully. Sasuke nodded. Hey, not bad, said Tsume, praising the girl. That's me, said Sakura, who was the most surprised. Sarada looked close to crying. I'm sorry for raising my voice. When he's finished with his mission, Dad will come home, said Sakura. It looks like who is keeping me from coming back home is none other than you, Hokage-sama, said Sasuke. No way, what the hell am I doing? Asked Naruto. Naruto, shouted Sakura and bonked him hard on the head. How do you know that? Asked Sarada, close to tears. Maybe he has forgotten about us, said Sarada. Sarada cried. Your dad and me are connected through our feelings, said Sakura, touching her forehead. Don't worry, said Sakura. How can you say that with such confidence? Asked Sarada. Thank you for that, said Sasuke. No problem, said Sakura, blushing. Kiba scoffed, still not over the fact that beside him was a future traitor. Suddenly the crack over the area spread and reached their house, then the house broke down in pieces. No way, the loan isn't, said Sakura, and fell down unconscious. How hard did you punch the ground? Asked Shikamaru in surprise. Ino laughed. A second Tsunade, she sure fits the criteria, said Sandame. From the crashed down building Sarada managed to salvage some things. Who is this? Said Sarada as she looked at the photo of her dad and his Akatsuki team. Who are they? Asked Naruto. Probably his team when he was in the Akatsuki, said Kakashi, giving Sasuke a cold look. Sasuke ignored it. Who is the lady wearing glass? She has pretty red hair, said Choji. You are into girls with red hair, said Ino, looking shocked. Dad, don't eat super size in front of your daughter in the morning, said Cho-Cho. Well, if you don't eat now then you never will, that's the life of a shinobi, not that I will ever eat them, said Karui. Holy shit, you really were into red hairs, said Ino. Not a bad choice, Choji, she looks pretty hot, said Kiba. Troublesome, said Shikamaru as Choji blushed. Hey Sarada, I have a feeling that I'm not really mom and dad's kid, said Cho-Cho. She's definitely your daughter, Choji, said Shikamaru. Everyone's sweat dropped. I'm thinking of going on a journey to find my true mom and dad. You will come together with me, won't you? Asked Cho-Cho. Sasuke activated his Sharingan and glared at Choji. Don't let your daughter give my daughter funny ideas. Got it, Choji, said Sasuke. Choji nodded fearfully. On a wooden forest a lonely man was walking forward. His name was Sasuke Uchiha. Damn, he looks hot, thought all four of the girls, even Hinata. It's you, said Kiba, glaring at Sasuke. Drop it, Kiba. He is back now and that matters, so leave it alone for now, said Shikamaru. Kiba grumbled. Sasuke suddenly stopped and looked around. Then he breathed. Suddenly, he turned around and blocked a slash from chain and sickle with his sword. Look out, said Sakura. Sasuke then pushed him back up in air. He landed on a tree and then jumped at Sasuke. He struck with his chain with a metallic end, but Sasuke sidestepped swiftly. The man then swung his chain around a tree and it was Sasuke's blind spot. That attacker's good, said Hiashi. But Sasuke let it wrap around his sword instead of his body and kicked the airborne man in his back. The man let out a groan of pain as Sasuke made a hand seal using his hand that was on his sword and channeled lightning chakra to the metal blade which was conducted by the chain, shocking the boy. No way, said Naruto. He made a one-handed seal, said Kurenai. That's not all, said Jiraiya. What do you mean, Jiraiya-sama? Asked Inoichi. His hand is missing, it's well hidden by the cape but I can still see it, said Hiruzen. No way, but how? Asked Naruto in shock. Probably in a battle or something. Happy now, I betrayed the village and in exchange lost an arm. Will that suffice for now, Kiba? Said Sasuke. Kiba grumbled and okay distastefully. The boy landed on the ground burned by the lightning and Sasuke seeing this approached him. He stopped when he saw the Uchiha emblem on his coat's back. What? Growled Sasuke in anger. As the boy turned around he saw a Sharingan blazing in both of the boy's eyes. Sasuke looked a bit shocked. No way, said Jiraiya. What the hell is going on? Asked Asuma. That's my line, someone else survived the massacre, said Sasuke. That's a real Sharingan, I can tell that much, said Kakashi. But how? Asked Hiruzen. Sasuke activated his own Sharingan. Who are you? Asked Sasuke, but the boy disappeared in a gust of leaf. Well, it looks like one hell of a story is going to be revealed here, said Jiraiya. Shikamaru, how many headbands do we need to order again? Asked Naruto sitting on the Hokage's desk. I'm sitting on that desk, said Naruto. This still doesn't make any sense, said Neji. Well, if he knows sage arts then being the Hokage is nothing for him, said Guy. Are they really that fearsome? Asked Tenten. Guy nodded. I can take care of that stuff like that, so you should, said Shikamaru. They looked back to see a weird sound. They saw a hawk standing outside the window. It's Sasuke's hawk, said Naruto. Cool, a hawk summon, said Lee. That's my summon, interesting, said Sasuke. That guy is so analog, said Shikamaru. It looks like I don't hold any hatred for you, said Shikamaru. Yeah, said Kakashi. It's good to see you repent for your crimes, said Kiba. But I still haven't done anything, and we don't know what I have done yet, said Sasuke irritated. 80% of Sasuke's missions take him to places where he can't charge his devices, give him a break, said Naruto. What type of missions are you doing? And what is a device? Asked Asuma. Maybe the science has evolved. The village looks different too, said Shibi. This is, said Naruto as he turned serious while reading the sent note. He must have sent a note about that encounter, reasoned Hiashi. Yes, it's plausible, said Shikaku. What is it, Naruto? Didn't I tell you I would be in leave? Asked Kakashi on the telephone. It's you, sensei, said Sasuke. What happened to your Sharingan? Asked Guy. I don't know, said Kakashi looking surprised. I see, said Kakashi turning serious. If this guy does have the Sharingan, it seems impossible in first place, he's an Uchiha survivor or someone connected to him, said Kakashi. Orochimaru, said Jiraiya. He's still alive, said Kiba snarling. So you've seen him, said a voice. So how was he? Sasuke Uchiha, asked the voice. Strong. Really strong, said the boy. That's nothing like his true power, the power of Sasuke Uchiha's Sharingan that is, said the voice. Really? Said Kiba. In case you didn't notice, in the earlier fight he didn't use his Sharingan, said Shikamaru. That's true, said Choji. Damn, you've probably become strong as hell, kid, said Asuma. Sharingan, he killed Itachi, said the boy. Sasuke jumped back in shock and tears gathered in his eyes. I killed him, I avenged my clan, said Sasuke smiling. Hey you alright Tem, said Naruto. I actually managed it, said Sasuke. Damn, you killed that Itachi, said Asuma. Not bad at all, kid, said Jiraiya. Hiruzen however looked grim. He's unforgivable, Must kill, said the boy. Are they his relatives or something, said Inoichi. I don't give a damn anymore. I killed him, said Sasuke happily and finally started eating his chicken dish. Everyone looked shocked seeing this Sasuke. It hasn't happened yet though, said Kakashi. Sweat dropped. You look unyouthful creepy Sasuke-kun, said Lee. The food in the lunch box is gonna get all mixed up, said Chocho panting. Where are this two going now? Asked Tenten. Sasuke glared at Choji. I told you to, said Sasuke. But she's not even born yet, said Choji. Suddenly the white-haired boy appeared in front of them. Sasuke and Choji looked angry. If this guy does anything to my daughter, said Choji. Don't lay a hand on my daughter. I won't give a damn if you are an Uchiha or not. I will kill you, said Sasuke. Shanaru, shouted Sakura. See, calm down both of you, said Naruto. He looked at them with his Sharingan. Sarada seemed terrified. Those eyes, who are you? Asked Sarada. Shin Uchiha, said the boy. My dad and I are supposed to be the only survivors of the Uchiha clan, said Sarada. Let's start with the popcorns then, said Choza. Yeah, the story is getting interesting to say the least, said Kakashi. Tenzo again handed out food to them. How can you stay so calm when your granddaughter is in danger, said Choji. Relax, we can see something you cute genins can't see, said Kakashi revealing his Sharingan. You are seriously going to use Sharingan for this Kakashi-senpai? Asked Tenzo. We are going to see an S-rank shinobi in action, said Kakashi. Shin Uchiha brought out a scroll. Come with me, said Shin. Sarada pushed her glasses upwards. And if I refuse, said Sarada. My father said, to bring you, said Shin. His word absolute, said Shin and opened the scroll. It revealed a Fuma shuriken attached to a chain. I'm taking you with me, said Shin. What are you going to do with me after you kidnap me? Asked Cho-Cho. Everyone's sweat dropped. Shin hurled the shuriken at them and they jumped. Sarada's hand was preoccupied by the lunch box, so she threw 3 kunai at him. He blocked them with his chain. Sarada stepped on the chain connected to the Fuma shuriken while landing, disabling his weapon. Not bad, your kid is pretty impressive, said Shikaku. Sasuke smirked. Cho-Cho, shouted Sarada, and Cho-Cho was already behind him. Partial expansion jutsu, said Cho-Cho and expanded her hand, and then she slammed it at him. Your daughter is better than you, said Ino. Not bad, you produced a fine girl son, said Choza. Shin jumped up and tangled the chain he was holding to Cho-Cho's hand and pushed Cho-Cho and Sarada off, throwing them to the ground. You aren't needed, said Shin and launched himself at Cho-Cho. Oh no, shouted Choji. However, a hand pulled Cho-Cho off the ground, saving her just in the nick of the time. Suddenly someone appeared behind Sarada, surprising her. Isn't this a bit much? Said the man who had the 7th Hokage cape on him. Thanks Naruto, said Choji. Wait, how did you get too fast? Asked Kiba. That is me, said Naruto. For a kid's fight, said Naruto smirking. Lord 7th, said Sarada. I think my village's kids are well behaved, but, said Naruto. Sakura and Ino whistled and Hinata blushed. Damn, that was pretty cool entrance, said Tenten. No way, said Kiba. Well, he is the Hokage. What did you expect? Asked Shikaku. Shin stood up glaring at Naruto with his Sharingan. Sharingan, I see you're the one, said Naruto. You're taking it pretty easy, aren't you? Asked Sasuke. He treated me so roughly, complained Cho-Cho. Sorry, but I'm gonna have to keep you restrained. I've some questions for you, said Naruto. Suddenly Shin's eye switched to a Mangekyo pattern. What? Shouted Sasuke in surprise. No way, Mangekyo, whispered Kakashi. That kid is more dangerous than I thought, said Hiruzen. What is this, Sasuke-kun? Asked Sakura. Sasuke hesitated before finally relenting. This is an advanced type of Sharingan which can be only activated after you meet some conditions. You have to kill your best friend to unlock it, said Sasuke. What? Asked Kiba. And its power is not normal either. It gives the user special types of power, said Kakashi. My brother killed the whole clan to gain this, said Sasuke with voice laced with hatred. You sure you can handle this, Naruto, said Shikamaru. There is no way, a failure like you can handle something this, said Neji. Not necessary. If not used by a skilled user then it will do nothing, said Hiruzen. And besides the kid is Hokage for Kami's sake. And a Hokage can't lose to a 12 years old kid, said Jiraiya. I see, Mangekyo Sharingan too, said Naruto and his expression turned grave. Then his body started glowing with yellow flames. Then I can't go easy on you, said Naruto as his transformation completed. What the hell is this? Asked Kiba in awe. It's the Kyuubi's power, said Hiruzen in surprise. You managed to become a perfect Jinchuriki, said Shikaku. I don't know, said Naruto as popcorn fell from his mouth. His eyes, gasped Jiraiya. But that's, said Hiruzen. What now? Asked Sasuke groaning. His eyes, you became a perfect sage. How? Asked Jiraiya. What does that mean, Guy-sensei? Asked Lee. Normally, when using sage mode some part of my body becomes like Toad's, especially my nose and freckles, said Jiraiya. Ew, said Sakura. But that kid only has his eyes change, although it looks different from a perfect sage mode, but that means you have went further than that, said Jiraiya. Kyuubi's power and evolved sage mode, gasped Hiashi. No, a failure, destined by fate, this just can't be possible, said Neji slowly breaking down. All of the people in the room looked at Naruto like crazy. How far have you gone, Naruto? Thought Sasuke clutching his fist tightly. Don't look at me, see the future me, said Naruto. Unnoticed by Naruto, the Fuma Shuriken behind Naruto slowly broke in pieces and charged at Naruto from air. Watch out, shouted Hinata. It will be fine, said Jiraiya. Chakra arms of moderate size suddenly came out of Naruto's cape and caught them all. Unbelievable, said Kiba. Who would have thought you would be this powerful, said Ino looking at Naruto disbelievingly. I'm super awesome, said Naruto said odd. How? Croaked Neji. Your flames of youth, said La. He is not young anymore, Lee, said Tenten. Remote control of weapons, so that's your power, said Naruto without even looking back. Frog Kumite, said Jiraiya. How the hell does this kid has 6 paths power, thought Kurama watching from inside. You've become stronger, Naruto, said Kakashi. Naruto's mindscape. There was a giant 9-tailed fox sitting there beside Naruto. The Kyuubi, gasped Sume. That's the, said Sakura. Why is it not sealed? Asked Jiraiya. But why has it not escaped? Asked Tenzo. Naruto, are we gonna let loose for once? Asked Kurama. It looks like you actually tamed the beast, said Hiruzen amazed. I just don't believe it, said Neji. Nor do I, thought Kurama from Naruto's gut. I'm really awesome, said Naruto giving him a toothy grin. Nobody had any words for the blonde anymore. Just a little, said Naruto grinning. Chakra flared around Naruto as the chakra arms grew bigger, blowing away a gust of dust by the shockwave of its power. Sarada, is this what they say is inside Lord Seventh's body? Asked Cho-Cho shocked. Yeah, the tailed beast, the 9 tails power, said Sarada as their hair blew in the wind. This is just amazing, said Asuma. I guess why you will need the Sharingan, my rival, said Guy. You've become a man, said Kurenai smiling proudly. Thanks, said Naruto. Go easy, okay, asked Naruto. What a real pain, said Kurama. A tailed beast, going easy, said Inoichi. Damn you, kid, looks like you have made buddies with the Kyuubi, said Shikaku. Otherwise you wouldn't dare talk to a beast like this, said Jiraiya. Then 2 chakra arms went towards Shin. Shin dodged, but the second one changed direction and Shin barely managed to dodge. Look at all that massive chakra, and he controls it so accurately, said Sarada as a chakra hand threw away Shin's Fuma Shuriken from his hand and knocked him back. How do you have that great chakra control, said Kurenai. Are you watching Minato-sensei? thought Kakashi. What? What are you? Said Sasuke. Amazing, said Kiba. Shin quickly jumped away again from a hand, now standing above a gate. Nicely countered. Kid, you're well trained, said Naruto. Wow, I knew that Lord Seventh was super strong, but he's even more amazing when you see him in actual combat, said Cho-Cho. His dazzling presence, could he be? Asked Cho-Cho. What? Thought Sarada. No way, thought everyone, your father's Choji kid, like it or not. A small creature landed beside Shin Uchiha. It had the Mangekyo Sharingan too. What is that? Asked Sasuke. This is the power of the 9 tails of the 7th Hokage, known as the greatest shinobi of his time, said the creature. You're what? Asked Sasuke. What a drag, I won't be surprised anymore, said Shikamaru. The greatest shinobi, huh? Damn, I still can't believe it, said Asuma. Hey, looks like I surpassed you, Tem, said Naruto. Shut up. This time will be different, said Sasuke, gritting his teeth. Looks like you truly achieved your dream, said Hiruzen. Naruto, you're too badass right now, said Ino. Yes, I'm proud to think that we have the privilege of sitting with such an amazing guy, said Shino. Naruto blushed. Technically, he still hasn't achieved it, said Kiba, grumbling. To be able to see it with these eyes is an unexpected bonus, said the creature. Shin nodded. Retreat for now, Shin, said the creature. You can't take him on yourself, said the creature, and activated a dojutsu space-time manipulation. Both of them disappeared. He disappeared, said Sarada. No way, said Jiraiya. That's a better space-time jutsu than the 4th, said Hiashi. This just keeps getting better and better, said Kakashi, eating his popcorn. The transportation technique? Asked Naruto, and his cloak of chakra disappeared. I guess that's it, said Naruto, sighing. Could you be my real dad, Lord Seventh? Asked Cho-Cho. Huh, what are you saying all of a sudden? Asked Naruto. Well, your daughter's providing a good comedy, said Shikamaru. Cho-Cho took his hand and placed it on her head. It's not quite the same, said Cho-Cho. Naruto looked confused. So, what's going on, Dadbao? Asked Naruto. Why is your arm covered in bandage? Asked Jiraiya. I don't know, said Naruto. Anyway, who was that just now? This journey was all about finding my dad, but am I the fair maiden that everyone's fighting over? Asked Cho-Cho, covering her body with her hands. Your kid's a bit too much delusional, said Asuma, sweat dropping. Choji had to concede that point. No, you're probably not their target, Cho-Cho, said Naruto. It's probably Sarada they are after, said Naruto, looking at Sarada. Who were they? They said they were Uchiha, said Sarada. She looked worried. Naruto smiled and walked towards her, then placed her hands atop her head. You don't have to worry about a thing, I'll protect you, said Naruto, giving her a foxy grin. Sarada grinned back in relief. Well, as it is, I can't send you back to the village, both of you, come with me. I think that'll be the safest, said Naruto. With you? All right, said Cho-Cho. Actually, I'm on my way to meet Sasuke, whom I haven't seen in a while. I know he'll probably be happy to see you too, said Naruto. Sarada looked up hopefully with a pink blush on her face. Oh yeah, I came to deliver this to you, said Sarada, handing him the lunchbox. Oh, asked Naruto. You are so mature, said Ino, looking at Naruto in a new light. This can't be Naruto, said Kiba. He looks around 30, Kiba, of course he will be different, said Shikamaru. But still, who would have thought that this dork would grow up to be such an, I don't know what to say, said Sakura. Yeah, I'm so awesome, said Naruto, still grinning madly because of his future success. All 3 of them were eating lunch sitting in a grass field. Sarada's papa, huh? Originally this was supposed to be a trip to find my dad, said Cho-Cho. Did Choji go somewhere? Asked Naruto. Your kid's trying to change the truth, said Shikamaru. You must be a really uncool father, Choji, said Ino. Hey, how come it's my fault, said Choji. What's your dad like? I've never met him, even once, asked Cho-Cho. Sarada looked down on the ground depressed. I don't remember him, said Sarada coldly. That's cold, said Choji. Seriously, why have you left your family behind? Asked Lee. Sasuke ignored him and looked on his screen. That's right, he's been out traveling the whole time, said Naruto. Naruto turned to the solemn Sarada. Let's see here, said Naruto. If I were to describe him, said Naruto, and Sarada looked at him with an indescribable expression of curiosity, nervousness and fear. He was always popular with the kunoichi at the academy, just like me, said Naruto. You're not, said Ino. Everyone laughed at Naruto's lie and Naruto himself looked sheepish. And he was quite handsome, just like me, said Naruto looking thoughtful. How did you come to that conclusion? Asked Shikamaru amused. I think he's quite handsome, thought Hinata but was unable to express it. Hey, I'm not that bad, said Naruto. Seriously Naruto, that's what you came with? Asked Sakura. Give it up man, people like us will never be popular no matter how much we tried, said Jiraiya in sympathy. I'm not like you pervert, said Naruto. Hey, how did you come to the conclusion of me being a pervert? Asked Jiraiya. Everyone else scoffed. You are constantly glancing at Kurenai-sensei and Kiba's mother, in that way, said Naruto. What? Asked Kiba and Asuma. Asuma quickly protected Kurenai from Jiraiya's viewpoint. Kiba looked ready to kill him but Asuma just shrugged knowing that the Sannin wouldn't dare try anything on her. You never learn, do you Jiraiya? Asked Hiruzen sighing. Sakura and Ino looked at the man in disgust. Hey, that was a lie. Brat, why are you selling me out? Asked Jiraiya. Alright, that's enough. Let's see what the future has in store for us, said Shikaku sighing. Plus, he always got the top grade in ninjutsu, just like me, said Naruto. There can't be two toppers Naruto, said Kakashi sweat dropping. Isn't it usually just one top scorer? Sounds suspicious, said Cho-Cho. Sarada smiled. But, he was surly, antisocial, arrogant and rude, totally not like me, said Naruto. Sarada looked depressed. Hey! Shouted Sasuke in indignation. Well, he is not wrong, said Kakashi. He described you perfectly, said Shikamaru. In other words, he is my rival, and that stands even now, said Naruto smirking. Sarada looked at Naruto surprised. Sarada, looking at you previously reminded me a lot of Sasuke and Sakura from back in the day, said Naruto. Oh, said Sarada. Sasuke doesn't wear glasses, but your eyes are just like his. But your presence is a lot like Sakura-chan, like how you might be really scary when you snap, said Naruto. Don't worry. No matter how far apart you are or how long you haven't seen him, it doesn't change the fact that you're his daughter, said Naruto. Sarada grinned at him happily. All of the genins looked amazed and the others smiled at Naruto's maturity. Naruto himself remained oblivious to his surroundings. Thanks, said Sasuke slowly. Huh, what? Asked Naruto. A tick mark appeared on Sasuke's forehead. Naruto, thanks for that, said Sakura. Huh, what, whatever you say Sakura-chan, said Naruto giving her a thumbs up. Dork, thought everyone. He has a long way to go, muttered Jiraiya to Sandaime who nodded. Sarada was standing in front of a tower panting. She slowly opened the door and went inside. In the dark room the only thing visible was the Sharingan. Wait, she already unlocked the Sharingan, said Sasuke. That's not a good sign, said Kakashi. So that's the Uchiha clan's dojutsu, said Neji. She walked to the pillar where a candle was lit. Then she heard a sound. She looked behind to see a cloaked figure with black eyes make her way towards her. Everyone looked on in anticipation. Tears swelled up in her eyes as she looked at her dad. Dad, said Sarada but was interrupted by Sasuke. I'm impressed that you found me, are you one of them, said Sasuke. Sarada looked on in disbelief as Sasuke drew his katana and pointed it at her. Everyone looked at Sasuke like he was a madman. Sasuke himself looked quite disturbed. What the hell is wrong with you? asked Kiba. That's not what someone says to a child, said Choza. How socially inept are you? Asked Naruto. I'm honestly don't know what to say to you, said Shikamaru sighing. Wait, you don't even know your child's face, said Jiraiya. That's so unyouthful, said Lee. Kakashi himself was socially inept like Sasuke at his age, so he didn't know what to say to him. Alright, the video ended here, said Hiruzen. On to the next one I guess, said Shikaku. Jay Sarada went after Naruto? Asked Sakura sitting on a hospital bed. At least according to Shikamaru, said a black-haired lady wearing a black kimono. Isn't that Shizune? Said Jiraiya. So it means Haim did become the 5th Hokage, said Hiruzen. Who is she Hokage-sama? Asked Ino. She is a disciple of Tsunade-sama, which means she is your future senpai Sakura, said Sandaime. Shanaru, I still can't believe that I become Tsunade-sama's apprentice, maybe that's why Sasuke-kun married me. I see, nodded Sakura. Maybe, if I become Tsunade-sama's apprentice Sasuke-kun will choose me over forehead girl, thought Ino. Where is she headed? Asked Sakura. Shizune quickly stopped her from getting out of bed. Who said you can get out of bed? I think she just wants to ask Sasuke some questions. She had an old photo of him with his ex-partners, said Shizune. Sakura looked surprised. So, she knows about the photo, said Sakura. Can you blame her? She is old enough to wonder about her father, said Shizune. Definitely, if it forced her to awaken her Sharingan, said Hiruzen. Do you need to see something horrifying to awaken, you know the Sharingan, said Tenten. Yes, as far as I know, Fugaku awakened it after he watched his clansmen lose their arms, said Hiashi. That was some bitter memories, said Jiraiya. You two knew my father, said Sasuke narrowing his eyes. Jiraiya looked at him. He was under my team alongside Hiashi and Minato, didn't he tell you that, said Jiraiya. My father was under this pervert, thought Sasuke in disgust. Sasuke didn't show his emotions and just nodded. I thought our clans were rivals, said Sasuke to Hiashi. Clans are our responsibilities as clan head, that doesn't mean however we personally hated each other, said Hiashi stoic as always. Let's get back on the topic. So she awakened her Sharingan because she grieved over her missing father that much, said Sume. Probably, said Shibi. I had a feeling that if Sasuke was nearby, she'd get embroiled in conflicts too, said Sakura. I mean, the Sharingan can also draw in sadness, said Sakura. What do you mean? Asked Sasuke to Sakura with narrowed eyes. Don't ask me Sasuke-kun, I don't know anything about the Sharingan, said Sakura. None of the seasoned veterans missed Sandaime's flinch. Sarada was standing there shaking in fear and behind her was a pillar cornering her. Sasuke held his katana directly in front of her face in parallel position. Then he stabbed his blade on the side of the pillar beside her face making her flinch. Tears were gathering at her eyes. Hey, are you seriously doing this? Asked Choji. He is your daughter dude, said Kiba in disgust. Sasuke didn't say anything although he looked paler than before. I swear Tem, if you do anything ridiculous to hurt Sakura-chan I'm going to, said Naruto. Oh please Kami, save my daughter, thought Sakura praying while joining her hands. Sarada saw her father's hands slowly reaching for her throat. She couldn't take it anymore. Dad, shouted Sarada closing her eyes momentarily as tears dropped down her face. Sasuke stopped. All of the rookies let out a breath they didn't know they were holding. You're Sarada? Asked Sasuke looking quite shocked. Nodded Sarada. You really hadn't even remembered her face. That's pretty low. I don't know what kind of mission you have to be assigned to do this, said Tenten. You have it pretty rough too, said Choji. Even then, it's irresponsible for you to not even check up upon her dadbao, said Naruto. I have to admit that Sasuke-kun, muttered Sakura quietly although torn between complaining and sticking up to him. Shut up. Like you could do any better than me, said Sasuke to Naruto. Huh. When I will have a child, I will always keep him happy no matter what. Dadbao, said Naruto. I think Naruto-kun will be a good dad, thought Hinata. You genins are too young to discuss about the process of child making. Naruto, said Kakashi, giggling as he alternated between looking at the cube screen and his favorite book. Only Kakashi can do that. What are you talking about, you pervert? I was not thinking about that, Dadbao, asked Naruto, blushing as he pointed his finger towards Kakashi accusingly. TCH, said Sasuke, annoyed at everyone. Even he didn't know why he was like that in future. Sure, he was cold, but that didn't mean that he would be cold enough to flat out ruin his daughter's life. He knew what it was to suffer from loneliness, so why was his future version doing this? Sasuke slowly withdrew his hand. He looked like he wanted to say something but moved his face away with an almost sad expression on his face. I see, said Sasuke. Sarada looked up to her father. I knew right away that you were my dad, said Sarada. Sasuke didn't say anything. Sarada's Sharingan disappeared. Sasuke removed his blade from the pillar and sheathed it back. The door slowly opened, lighting the room as Sasuke looked back. There you are, said Naruto as he entered the room. Sarada, why'd you run off like that? Asked Cho-Cho. Oh, said Cho-Cho as he looked at Sasuke. So handsome, thought Cho-Cho. Back off, girl, shouted Sakura. You keep your daughter away from my darling. Got it, said Ino angrily, poking Choji. But she has not even taken birth yet, said Choji. Huh, Sasuke-kun is mine, Ino pig. Didn't you see the future, said Sakura. We are here to change the future, aren't we? I will steal him away from you, ugly forehead girl, said Ino haughtily. What did you say? Asked Sakura angrily, and both girls were about to start their fight but were physically stopped by their Jonin sensei. Sasuke ignored them. I'm gonna get a talk from dad later for this. Why is she like this, thought Asuma as he stopped Ino from moving out from her place and embarrass herself further. Fangirls, thought Tenten, rolling her eyes. Sorry I'm a little late, Sasuke, said Naruto, walking towards him. Naruto, what's going on? Why did you bring children with you? Said Sasuke, frowning, but his rant was interrupted. His hand was on Cho-Cho's head. That bitch, shouted both of the fangirls. I'm gonna murder your girl, Choji. No, I will murder you before you give birth, said Ino angrily as her hair started waving in air. How dare she touch my Sasuke-kun, said Sakura. Calm down, Sakura-chan, said Naruto, but was instead punched down on the ground by her fiery fist. TCH, said Sasuke, clearly a bit annoyed. Troublesome, said Shikamaru as he watched the Yamanaka beating the hell out of his poor friend. I'm sorry, but I can't save you, Choji, thought Shikamaru, and like a smart man stayed out. Why are you angry, Pinky? You have done the deed with him, right? That's how you gave birth, right? Said Jiraiya. Jiraiya, don't pollute their minds, said Sandaime, sighing. Oh, deed, I kya, shouted Sakura, blushing like mad as she clutched her head. Sasuke for once showed the face of absolute despair after suffering from Itachi's genocide. Damn it, Sasuke, why do you get to do that? Said Naruto. Kakashi was busy trying to not imagine adult Sasuke's adult Sakura. He was not that shameless. Ino's temper needlessly was about to rise and she was about to really finish the poor chubby boy off, but Asuma stopped her. Yeah, I'm gonna get it from dad later, said Asuma, sighing. They bring bad name to all Kunoichi. How did that pink girl made Tsunade-sama's apprentice, said Tenten, soft enough that nobody except Neji heard her, who was busy trying to accept the reality of the future. This feels right, but maybe the touch was a bit firmer, said Cho-Cho. What's going on? Asked Sasuke. Sarada clenched her fists. I came to see you, Dad, shouted Sarada. It drew everyone's attention. I found out Lord Seventh was meeting up with you, so I followed him, said Sarada. Everyone had calmed down by now. There's something I really want to ask you, asked Sarada. Something you want to ask me, said Sasuke. Yes, nodded Sarada. Well, is mom, my real mom? Asked Sarada. Holy cow, gasped Kiba. No way. You are even involved in adultery now, said Shikamaru. Sasuke's eye twitched. Nothing has been confirmed of yet, said Sasuke calmly. Sakura had placed her hands on her mouth in shock. But it's understandable why she would ask this. Nazanera, she had been always alone with her mom who wouldn't tell anything about her father who never came to visit her at least once, said Shino. I guess, said Hinata. Yeah, for her perspective it does look fishy, said Choji. The scene shifted to Konoha Hospital. I see, so Sarada had the Sharingan for that long? Asked Shizune. Emotional trauma triggers the awakening of the Sharingan, perhaps without knowing. Sasuke's absence affected her deeply, said Shizune to Sakura who was looking outside through the window. Judging by your reaction, you didn't tell her about the others in the old photography either, said Shizune. Sarada is very conscientious. If she ever found out Sasuke-kun was an enemy of the Hidden Leaf at one time, said Sakura. You bastard, said Kiba with venom drooling in his tongue. Sasuke couldn't truly understand why he chose to do such stupid actions in the future, but otherwise ignored him. Everyone was staring at Sasuke with condemn in their eyes. But why will you do this, Sasuke-kun? Asked Ino. I thought we went over this, it has still not happened. You guys should stop now, said Kakashi. It doesn't change the fact that he not only turned rogue, but also joined the enemy, said Kiba. Which has still not happened, Kiba. You are the only one who is embarrassing yourself here, said Kurenai. No matter how unyouthful action Sasuke-san has taken in the future doesn't mean he can't be forgiven. Clearly, Naruto-kun and the others in the future trust him enough to give him such an important mission which kept him away from his family, said Guy. Calm down everyone, this is too much of a drag, but according to the future, we do need him. And he is also loyal shinobi to Konoha in the future probably, said Shikaku. Why are you guys holding grudges over something that will never happen again, said Shikamaru sighing. This seems foolish, said Shibi. Let's stop this and continue watching the video, said Inoichi. But, said Kiba. Shut up, Kiba, growled Sume dangerously. Needless to say he shut up after that. Why this happening to me? Don't do anything stupid, future me. Otherwise my character might not live to see the future, thought Sasuke as he ignored Naruto's glare. His facial expression betrayed nothing. Just because the others were pacifying the situation didn't mean they trusted him. Sasuke knew that, but now, he's traveling around the world for the good of the village, said Shizune. See, I told you, you should let some things go, Nazanera, said Shino. Okay, I know man, said Kiba still a bit grumpy, but not grumpy enough to listen to Shino's ridiculous long speech. Even if you kept it secret, she would find out eventually. It was the same even when she was born, said Shizune. The Nara clan leader frowned at what was being implied. Many others noticed this, even his son. Fortunately nobody except he, Shino, and Neji picked up on what was being said. Maybe you should have more faith in Sarada, said Shizune. I'm a failure as a mother, said Sakura. Even the current Sakura looked a bit put off about this. It's not your fault, Sakura-chan. There are certain things you needn't to reveal as a shinobi that easily. This was something that was bound to happen anyway, said Kakashi softly. This is my problem. You don't need to concern yourself with this, said Sasuke uncharacteristically. No, she is her daughter from the future, you know, of course she will worry, thought Kakashi. Sasuke-kun, said Sakura cheering up. Shanaru, doesn't this mean he is concerned about me? What are you talking about? And get away from Sakura-chan, said Naruto as oblivious as always. Please answer me, is she my real mom? Asked Sarada. What happened? Asked Sasuke calmly. Sarada glared at him. What happened? You're never around. Why won't you live with your wife and your daughter? Do you even care that you've forgotten your daughter's face? Asked Sarada angrily. She then took out the photo. Who's the woman next to you wearing the same kind of glasses as me? Asked Sarada. Ah, so that's what's going on, said Jiraiya. Do you think this is something a daughter can ask her mom? Asked Sarada. Hey, that photo is, said Naruto as he squinted his eyes. I'm not really into situations like these, said Cho-Cho as she clung closer to Naruto. Mom doesn't say anything, and you're never around. I can't trust either one of you. This whole thing is a mess, ranted Sarada. Yeah, this is pretty horrible, said Tenten. You could have gone back just once or twice to Konoha, said Lee. Where have you been and exactly what have you been doing all this time, Dad? Asked Sarada. Sasuke slowly moved his head to the side. It has nothing to do with you, said Sasuke. You're kidding, right? Said Choza, sighing. That's what you say seriously. Your Uchiha egoism is too much, said Jiraiya. You do know that makes you horrible father, right? Said Tenten. Tenten is an orphan, so she is sensitive to things like this, thought Neji. That's unyouthful, said Lee. Sasuke flat out ignored everyone. Tem doesn't even know how to talk properly. That's why I said to join a communication 101 course Dadbao, said Naruto. Shut up, Dobi, said Sasuke. Huh, you should go to kindergarten and learn to talk to others before you become a shinobi of my caliber, said Naruto, laughing. A shinobi who can't make a simple clone, said Sasuke, seething, not chiding back due to the fact he did feel horrible for saying that to his future daughter who had been storing up her frustrations for years. Mama, as I told you, there are things that can't be said no matter what, said Kakashi. Yeah, stop harassing Sasuke-kun, said Sakura. Even if it meant hurting your own daughter emotionally, said Tenten. Well, guessing from how Sasuke reacted to Sarada-chan near in the future, the mission probably is a top secret, so he couldn't really had reveal its contents that easily, said Kurenai. But you could have phrased it better, kiddo. You talk like an introvert in the future, or even now for the fact of the matter, said Asuma. Tears gathered in her eyes as she was forced to close them. Just forget it, said Sarada and ran out. Hey, called out Naruto after her. That was way insensitive of you. I thought for a moment that you might be my dad, but that's impossible, said Cho-Cho and ran after Sarada. That's what we've been saying from the beginning, thought everyone watching it. Don't you think you should tell Sarada at least, about why you won't return to the village, said Naruto as Sasuke looked towards him. I told you something was going on, said Kakashi. Flashback start. Adult Sasuke and Naruto were looking on towards the village of the leaf from the window of a very high building. Are you leaving already? Asked Naruto. I'll send word if I find something, said Sasuke. It wouldn't hurt to stop by your house, would it? Asked Naruto. The existence of a threat like Kagaya, who nearly destroyed the world, could rise again if we're not diligent, said Sasuke. So, who is Kagaya-sensei? Asked Ino. Never heard of her, said Asuma looking towards his father. I've never heard of this woman either, said Hiruzen. But what did you mean when you said it nearly destroyed the world, said Yamato looking at Sasuke, who shrugged. Maybe it happened in the future, said Inoichi. We can't afford to ignore any trace of it, said Sasuke. It was a peace which was secured through the huge sacrifices, after all, said Naruto. Peace? You mean to say the 5 nations are finally allied, Jano, said Jiraiya expectantly. I don't know, it could mean many things, said Hiruzen. So this Kagaya person was so strong that all the nations were forced join hands to crush her, said Kakashi. It's hard to believe such a person exists, said Hiashi skeptically. Yeah, I don't believe that the stone or lightning bastards will ever accept Leaf's help, said Sum, snarling. Not even a miracle can make this possible, Jiraiya-sama, said Choza sadly. This is, also a journey of atonement for me, said Sasuke. Ah, so that's why you don't want to involve your daughter in this, said Shikamaru. Not like it changes anything, said Kiba stubbornly. Hey you, why you are so angry when we don't even know why or exactly even what he did, said Tenten. He joined our enemy. That's reason enough for me. But at least it's good to see you repent for your sins, said Kiba, snarling. Sasuke evolved his Uchiha egoism to the next level and remained emotionless like always, ignoring the conversation and stared intently at his future self. No one has any bitterness towards you anymore, said Naruto laughing. Really? Said Kiba surprised. Sasuke didn't look convinced at all. Come on Sasuke, together we can, said Naruto, but Sasuke interrupted him. You protect the village as the Hokage. I'm the only one with the Rinnegan, who can search for traces of Kagaya. You do what you're supposed to do, and I'll do what I'm meant to do. Isn't this the collaboration you always wanted? Said Sasuke and walked towards the exit. Why you what? Asked Jiraiya, dramatically pointed at Sasuke, who narrowed his eyes at the man. What happened, old man? Asked Naruto. You posse's those eyes, said Asuma. What are you talking about, Asuma-sensei? Asked Shikamaru. Yes, I don't quite understand, said Kurenai. I've heard rumors about them too, said Hiashi. Me too, I've read about them somewhere, said Shikaku. Don't keep us in the dark, unyouthful guys, said Guy. Yes, please give us a heated explanation, said Lee. What I possess, Rinnegan? Asked Sasuke as he repeated his future's words in his mind. Rinnegan, the eyes of the Sage of the Six Paths, said Kakashi, sweating. Sage of the Six Paths, isn't he the one who distributed chakra and taught us ninjutsu? Said Sakura as her eyes widened. That means that why you have the eyes of the Sage, said Hinata meekly. Sasuke-kun, as cool as always, said Ino, swooning. But those eyes are greater than any other visual powers, said Sandaime in shock too. No way, I refuse to believe there are any eyes greater than the Byakugan, said Neji. And I refuse to believe there are any eyes mightier than the Uchiha's Sharingan, said Sasuke. Why are you so stubborn when you are the one wielding the eyes of the sage, said Shikamaru, sweat dropping. Sasuke pondered about this. Damn it, but remember Tem, I'm the strongest shinobi of the era Dadbayo, said Naruto. We are here to change the future. Then why can't I be stronger than you, loser? Said Sasuke, smirking after recovering quickly from Shikamaru's earlier comment. Now he had something to counter Naruto's overwhelming power, future Naruto's by the way. Boys, you have still not achieved your future feats, said Kakashi. Yes, it's too early for you to let this go to your head because, said Shino. But it's impossible, the only one who had those eyes was him, said Jiraiya, mumbling, and interrupted Shino. Are you talking about the war orphan from AIM? Said Sandaime. Jiraiya nodded. What's this about Jiraiya-sama? Asked Kakashi. Nothing, let's move on, said Jiraiya, shaking his head. Kakashi narrowed his eyes but didn't comment. Listen, treat my movements as a top secret mission that only the top brass knows about, said Sasuke. Not knowing anything hurts, you know, said Naruto. It does, Dadbayo, thought Naruto while keeping his cheerful grin on his face and watched the projection on the cube. He didn't know why the village hates him for about 12 years and lived in the dark. And now that he knows, the villagers feel colder than usual. Sarada should, at least, said Naruto, but was interrupted. Knowing will only create unnecessary anxiety, said Sasuke. She may resent you someday, said Naruto. Even if she does, the future ought to stay bright, am I wrong? Said Sasuke. Jiraiya looked at Sasuke appreciatively. So, my job as a spy master is passed on to you, huh? Said Jiraiya, looking at Sasuke. The future, huh? Thought Sasuke. He still didn't understand what changed so much for the adult himself. And exactly why was he on so friendly terms with the idiot? Even if it causes your ward to suffer, you to suffer, will you still consider this to be right? Asked Tenten glumly. Even if it is, the village is always more important. It's about time you guys learn about what it means to be a shinobi. We don't need to be right as long as the king's safe, said Hiruzen. There he goes with his, who is the king, stuff, I never understood it, thought Asuma, sighing. This is also a part of being a shinobi, sacrificing your happiness for village, said Jiraiya, sneaking a look at his godson. She has Sakura, there's nothing to worry about, said Sasuke. You seem to trust her very much, said Kakashi, smiling. Ah, youthful moments of life, embrace love and become one with youth by the heat and passion of love, said Guy, disgusting Neji and Tenten with his youthful talks. Sakura blushed and Sasuke still didn't understand why he married her. Well, she has matured though, thought Sasuke, appraising the Sakura in the future. Che, what do you see in this Tem anyway? Asked Naruto. Huh, he is 100 times better than you, loser, said Ino. Yeah, shut up Baka, said Sakura. For now, definitely not, thought Sasuke, looking at the current Sakura bonking Naruto on his head. For now though, in the future we can't say for sure, maybe I've gotten stronger, said Choji. I can't wait for the future Dadbao. I'm the Hokage, said Naruto, grinning, momentarily forgetting that his rival was going to betray his village. Sarada was gloomily sitting on the side looking down on the ground. Cho-Cho was standing behind a rock behind Sarada eating chips. I'm really not good at dealing with stifling situations like this, said Cho-Cho. Then she noticed that chips in her packet was finished. She then opened a new pack of chips. Okay, after I finish eating this, I'm gonna really try talking to her, said Cho-Cho. First try to stop eating, thought everyone. Nanadime slowly walked beside her and rested his hand on her shoulder, making her look up towards him. Naruto knelt down. Sarada, could you at least believe this? Your father is the finest shinobi around, said Naruto. What? Why are you admitting this, Dadbao? Asked Naruto, spluttering. No way. A day came when Naruto actually acknowledged Sasuke. Asked Shikamaru. Sasuke himself was surprised. You grew up, Naruto, said Kakashi, smiling. Even then you can't defeat me, said Naruto. Is that so, scaredy cat? Asked Sasuke mockingly, reminding Naruto of the time when Sasuke saved him. Shut up. That just happened once, I totally kicked Zabuza's after that, said Naruto. You mean Sensei did, said Sakura, rolling her eyes. Well, a day came when Naruto and Sasuke kissed, so maybe this is not a surprise, said Kiba. Sasuke and Naruto both blushed. Shut up, mutt, shouted both of them. Oya, said Jiraiya. What is the meaning of this? Didn't know you guys had that kind of relationship, said Kakashi, amused. Stop it, guys, shouted Sakura. It's your fault, Kiba, said Ino as Kiba laughed. Ma, don't worry, as long as you do it at a secluded area nobody will mind, said Kakashi. Kakashi-sensei, shouted both the fangirls. It's your fault, Dobi, said Sasuke. Shut up, it's the mutt's fault, said Naruto. Oh, this is an interesting result. Maybe I can include this on my book, said Jiraiya, and pulled out a parchment. Instantly it was pierced by a kunai thrown by Sasuke. Jiraiya, Kakashi, stop polluting their minds, said Hiruzen. The adults looked on amused. So in the end, you two did kiss, said Asuma. It was an accident, shouted both of them, and Naruto was consequently punched by Sakura. That was for stealing Sasuke-kun's first kiss, said Sakura. Oh, this is also youth, said Guy. It is not, said Tenten. Guys stroking their heat in a passionate moment. How youthful of you two, said Lee. This is getting creepy now, stop it, said Kiba in disgust as he heard Lee. You are the one who started this, Dadbao, shouted Naruto. My character, thought Sasuke. Sarada looked down again, not at all happy with Naruto's comment. Cho-Cho looked at them with chips scattered around her mouth. In an unknown place, Shin Uchiha was kneeling down in front of a black hooded figure. And instantly all humor was gone, all the adults looked intently at the screen. The atmosphere changed. For the purpose of our goal, let it begin, said the man. He reached for his cloak, revealing his hand. What the hell? Asked Sasuke angrily. Sensei, in his hands, are all of them Sharingan, said Jiraiya. How did he get his hands on them? Snarled the last Uchiha. So he transplanted them, said Hiashi. The revival of Akatsuki, said the man, removing his cloak, revealing his pale skin and his attire. Akatsuki, That cloak matches what Sasuke wore in the photo shown in the future, said Shikaku. So, he is a member of Akatsuki, said Shikamaru. The man slowly turned back, revealing the Sharingan in his head and the Sharingan in his eyes. Yes, said many Shin Uchiha kneeling down in front of the man. The hell, how did they multiply suddenly, said Tenten. And how creepy is that dude, I mean look at him, he has those freaky eyes everywhere on his body, said Ino. Sasuke glared at her. Sorry, I didn't mean to offend you Sasuke-kun, said Ino defensively. Way to ruin your chance Ino, thought Ino. Those eyes, without a doubt are signs of transplantation. Even the ones he has in his eyes are the same, said Kakashi. Yes, but having so many of them will kill him. Not only they drain chakra twice as fast for a non-Uchiha, but we don't even know whether they work when it is attached to an arm, said Jiraiya. If it didn't work then he would not have kept them in his body. But is he an Uchiha? Asked Kakashi. An Uchiha stealing Sharingan of other Uchiha, this bastard doesn't deserve to live, said Sasuke. He might even be a fake, said Asuma. But the toll on his body will without a doubt kill him. Trust me, I know firsthand how difficult it is to have these eyes, said Kakashi. Are you guys not going to ask how that Shin kid suddenly multiplied? Asked Sume. That is also another issue, is he using shadow clones, said Choza. Sasuke slowly rubbed his hand on the part where he stabbed the sword on the wall. He remembered the tears on his daughter's eyes as he went to grab her throat. Yeah, you screwed up, said Kiba. Unyouthful, although such actions were for the sake of the village, I don't approve of such unmanly ways, said Lee. What a cliffhanger. I wanted to know more about the Uchiha weirdo, said Jiraiya. Sasuke turned around and saw Cho-Cho standing behind him. Here, said Cho-Cho and held a packet of chips in front of her. What is it? Asked Sasuke. It's consomme flavor. You can have it, so use it to make up with Sarada, said Cho-Cho. She is a good friend, said Hinata softly. Sasuke suddenly looked up. He quickly released his trademark Sharingan and sensed some chakra signature. Something's coming. All adults straightened up. Wait Sarada, said Naruto holding Sarada's arm. Please let me go. If no one will tell me the truth I'll go find that woman with the glasses myself, and ask her to her face, said Sarada. Go and talk to Sasuke one more time, said Naruto. You're such a good friend, Naruto, said Choji. Standing on the top of the building behind them was the small creature with the Mangekyo Sharingan. It's the monster with the teleportation jutsu, said Neji. They're coming, said Kakashi and pulled up his headband revealing his Sharingan. It opened a portal from which Shin and the big pale-skinned guy came and threw some projectiles at the duo. Watch out, shouted Sakura. Let's go, Shin, said the man. Yes, father, said Shin. So he is the father, said Inoichi. Father's eyes changed to Mangekyo and he used his powers to guide the projectiles towards them. He has the same power as his son said Jiraiya. Naruto turned around and suddenly an orange chakra in the shape of tails surrounded them deflecting the projectiles. Cool, what's that? How did you get that power? Said Kiba. Kiba, shut up, we have long established the fact that in the future the Naruto-san we know no longer remains the same. He is not an idiot, said Shino. Thanks, creepy guy. Hey, did you call me an idiot? Asked Naruto. I'm Shino, said Shino as a vein popped around his head. Father controlled the blades to stop in mid-air and continue their charge on the duo. Sarada's knees were shaking in fear. She sweated at the sight of the projectiles incoming towards them. Understandable, she is a child after all, said Kurenai. But a bright flash drew her attention. Naruto went in his six-path sage mode and a fox's head-shaped chakra surrounded them blocking the projectile. They stuck in the massive cluster of chakra. How much chakra is concentrated in there? Asked Guy in amazement. It's like a perfect defense, even stronger than the Hyuga's Kaden, said Jiraiya. Neji clenched his fists tightly. Hiashi didn't comment although he did scowl at the Sannin. How? A failure like him shouldn't be a Hokage. If the Kyuubi is truly sealed in him, then he should understand, it is his fate to be hated. Fate is cruel. Nobody in the village should have the sense to acknowledge him instead of fearing what's inside him. And yet, he has accomplished his dream. He broke his destiny. But how is this possible? I can't accept this. Then why did my father have to die like that? Nobody can shape their destiny. I can't be in the wrong, thought Neji as he bit his lips in order to stay calm. Neji, thought Lee as he watched his rival having a small mental breakdown. I leave it to you, Sasuke, said Naruto, and suddenly Sasuke appeared in air with his katana drawn. Go Sasuke-kun, said Ino, cheering her future husband on. HN, said Sasuke. Let's see how strong I'm, thought Sasuke. Dad, shouted Sarada as she watched her father going ahead to meet the intruders head on. Father released ample amount of projectiles at Sasuke out of nowhere. But Sasuke tracked all of them with his Sharingan and deflected all of them with his katana. He was met with a hand with a black tattoo on the palm from his blind side, he noticed too late. Sasuke, however, quickly thrust his katana in father's hand that dodged the blow and caught it with his hand. Naruto frowned as he watched father smirk. Shin appeared from behind father with his giant tri-shaped blade and charged on towards the trapped Sasuke. Oh no, he can't move fast enough, said Choji. Sasuke's right eye revealed his Rinnegan and suddenly Sasuke was switched with Shin and vice versa. What did you do? Asked Asuma. The Rinnegan, is it the power of the sage? Said Jiraiya. What was that? Asked Kiba. Time and space jutsu, it lets him manipulate time and space itself, said Kurenai. HN, that's to be expected, said Sasuke, proud of his future's power. Now, he was certain that in his future he had probably killed Itachi as stated. TCH, show off, said Naruto. Sasuke turned around and made a single seal. Fire style. Great fireball jutsu, said Sasuke, and released a massive fiery fireball at the father and son duo. Although father didn't turn around fast enough, he used the Mangekyo on his head to pull Shin directly behind him as a shield. Is that his visual prowess? Asked Naruto as they were engulfed by the fire. Sasuke caught his flying katana and landed in Naruto's chakra barrier as the two of the burned Uchiha landed flat down on the ground. Did he use his son as a shield? Asked Tenten in disgust. That's unyouthful no matter how you look at it, said Lee. I agree, said Shikamaru. What a bastard, said Naruto angrily. Dad's amazing, said Sarada, admiring her father's prowess. Yeah, but this is nothing, said Naruto. Really? Said Kiba. Man, if only my real dad had piercing eyes and was a make the ladies swoon type. Yup, said Chocho, hiding from a corner. Am I that bad? Asked Choji, depressed. Troublesome. Leave it, Choji, you can't understand girls, especially teenage, said Shikamaru, trying to cheer his best friend up. I strongly disagree, said Tenten. Slowly the father got up, smoke rising from his back. I see, Sasuke Uchiha, that's something I definitely want in order to revive the Akatsuki, said father. So Akatsuki had been dealt with, including your brother, huh? Said Jiraiya, flat out ignoring Sasuke's deathly glare. Sarutobi looked grim. And this fellow is trying to revive this group, said Shikaku. Akatsuki, who are you? Asked Naruto, surprised. Father smirked. My name is Shin Uchiha, said the man now identified as Shin 2. Shin Uchiha, that's the same name as that boy? Asked all of the Konoha 12. Nonsense, he is blatantly lying, said Asuma. But why? Why is he lying? Asked Shikamaru. Ino rolled his eyes. What obligations do you think an enemy has to give out the truth, Shika? Said Ino. Troublesome, I mean why he will lie in a painfully obvious way. There is nothing he is gaining other than irking them. He surely knows that Sarada knows his son's name through that creature with the Sharingan, said Shikamaru. Maybe he has some loose screws here and there. He looks kinda stupid with all those eyes on his body, said Kiba. I hope that's the case, said Shikamaru. You can speak the truth at leisure after we've captured you. Until then shut up, said Sasuke. So cool, said Ino. Who told you to rest? Stand up, said Shin Sr. to Shin Jr. Shin Jr. slowly and shakily got up. Yes, father, said Shin. How dare he treats him like this? Thought Tenten. Are they father and son? He's using his own son as a shield, said Naruto. Sasuke shook of the blood in his katana. Naruto, take care of Sarada, said Sasuke. Sure, as long as she's in here, they can't touch her, said Naruto. It's just like our ultimate defense, said Hiashi. Neji clenched his fists harder. No, it's probably better as he can contain it for a longer period of time. But, thought Neji, be careful and don't let your guard down, said Naruto warning his friend. Sasuke charged forward or at least was about to. Shin's eye glowed and the sound of flesh being torn apart was heard. Naruto looked down. Sasuke and Sarada looked at Naruto's gut where Sasuke's sword was now embedded. What? Said Sarada in complete shock. The room felt silent. Nobody said a word and all of the present party looked at Naruto who considerably paled. Well, nobody knew that Naruto in the future had the power of healing. Naruto, don't worry, this won't happen, said Kakashi and came closer to Naruto and clutched his shoulder. He then pulled the normally hyperactive boy closer to him. Sakura and Sasuke came closer to Naruto as well. Kiba did not say anything to Sasuke, he himself was busy absorbing what just happened. He won't die from that, but I don't think the girl is a medic. The Uchiha can't fight while healing him. This is bad. He can't maintain that protection of chakra anymore, thought Shino showing a rare face of concern. Hiruzen knew he died because he saw the entire part 1, the actual reason he called them was because the next scenes were locked. And it was stated in the cube that certain requirements needed to be fulfilled to see part 2. And that was for the present party to watch this. Why would he let children watch their future when he knew that this might happen? This is not, said Hinata as tears fell down her eyes. Kurenai quickly went beside her. Choji, Ino and Lee had covered their mouth in shock. Kiba didn't know exactly what he should say in this situation. Tenten and Neji just watched what was happening, although both of them had clenched fingers. None of the clan heads and Jonin-sensei said anything, even Guy. Again, nobody was aware of the fact that the boy had auto-healing. Damn it, thought Shikamaru and Choji dropped his popcorn. Nobody expected the change in momentum in just one move. Where the hell was I? Thought Jiraiya with a grim expression. Tenzo watched on, not knowing the boy personally, so he didn't say anything. The sword slowly started piercing inside Naruto's stomach. Sarada could see the sword sticking out of Nanadime Hokage. Moaned Naruto in pain as he slowly kneeled down on the ground and touched the blade. Kakashi cursed. I need to find that bastard's location at present and kill him, thought Jiraiya. What's going on? Asked Sasuke, worry evident in his voice. This is my visual prowess, well, said Shin Uchiha Sr. and slowly unclenched his right fist. Just as good as yours, huh? Asked Shin Uchiha Sr. revealing a black mark on his palm. Blood dripped down from Naruto's mouth as he glared at the man, while trying to remove the katana. He has the same power as his son, said Shibi. The situation is grim, said Inoichi. After I finally become Hokage, is this how I'm going to die? Dadbao, thought Naruto as he gulped. Kakashi and his team being there for him helped him. This has not happened, thought Naruto. That didn't mean he enjoyed seeing his death. Lord 7th, said Sarada as she crouched down beside him. Don't worry, Sarada, I'm okay, said Naruto. How are you okay, kid? Thought Asuma. He should have been able to dodge that blade with Sage Mode easily. Has his prowess dulled in the era of peace? Thought Jiraiya. That guy is able to control other people's weapons, with his visual prowess, said Naruto. We know that. Do something, Naruto, said Kiba. Shut up, Kiba, said Shino. Sasuke looked at Shin Uchiha Sr. That moment, thought Sasuke as he recalled the time Shin grabbed his katana in midair. He marked my sword, thought Sasuke. So that's how he is able to control other people's weapons, thought Choza. I would have praised you for this observation, but now's not the time, said Sume. Sasuke didn't say anything. He watched on intently, hoping for his future self to defeat that Uchiha trash. Sasuke looked up surprised as he watched the barrier getting unstable. Shin seized the chance and used his power to free the projectiles which were stuck on Kyuubi's chakra barrier. Damn it, said Kakashi. He launched them at the back of Naruto and Sarada. Sasuke looked back and appeared behind Sarada and took the projectiles on his back. "Urk," said Sasuke, groaning in pain. "Dad," shouted Sarada, looking behind her. "No," shouted Sakura and Ino. Both tried to reach out for Sasuke, but Ino was stopped by Asuma again. "Let me go, sensei," said Ino, trying to free herself from Asuma's grip. Asuma himself remained silent and watched on. Shikamaru clicked his tongue in worry. "What the hell?" asked Kiba in worry. He hated the Uchiha for becoming a traitor, but that didn't mean that he wanted Sasuke to die. Especially when he protected Naruto and Sarada. "No, not he too, damn this asshole. Why do you keep protecting me, Tem?" shouted Naruto, now a bit composed. He remembered his fight with Haku, and also how Sasuke protected him. "Don't worry, they didn't reach his vitals. He still can fight," said Tenzo. "No, he can't anymore. Those projectiles can also probably restrict his movements," said Hiruzen. "How unyouthful to attack from behind, especially at a child no less," said Lee. "If what you say is true, Hokage-sama, then this unyouthful man is definitely at S-class level. Especially with all those Sharingan on his body," said Guy. "Is this how I am going to die?" thought Sasuke. "But at least I finished Itachi off, and the Uchiha clan continued with my daughter. I have fulfilled my dream. This is alright, HN, said Sasuke, trying to keep his calm even in this situation and horribly failing as Kakashi saw his hands tremble. Instantly Kakashi brought Sasuke closer to him. What if Sasuke became an enemy later? Right now he was Kakashi's student. And nobody complained. All my teammates are dying. Where the hell was I? Please someone save them, thought Sakura as tears gathered around her eyes and she hugged both of them. Sasuke didn't complain. Naruto continued to watch the future with clenched his fist. Why the hell am I on vacation now? Thought Kakashi. Peace keeps humans from evolving, just like it has with you too, said Shin Uchiha Sr. Shut up, ya damn psycho bastard, said Kiba. Blood gathered around Sasuke's injured parts as they pierced his body slowly. He's inhibiting my movements with these, said Sasuke. I knew it, said Sandaime Hokage. This is really bad, said Shikaku. Many projectiles were gathering around his left hand and went inside his cloak. Those black projectiles were his hands all along, said Asuma in surprise. Such precise control, said Kurenai. Without evolution, creatures shall eventually perish. So, I'm taking your Sharingan, said Shin Sr. and charged forward as Sarada closed her eyes in fear. Someone stop him, shouted Sakura as tears fell down from her eyes. And suddenly spit came out of his mouth as his whole body shook, and he was lifted in air. Sakura suddenly had arrived and punched him in his chest hard. Shannaroga, shouted Sakura as her eyes flared angrily. Blood barfed out of Shin Uchiha Sr.'s mouth as life was sucked out of his eyes. Mom! Shouted out Sarada in surprise as Naruto and Sasuke looked on. Sakura gritted her teeth and in midair changed the direction of her punch downwards. She slammed the asshole senior to the ground, creating a crater, just half a second after a whirlwind of dust covered them as the ground exploded outwards. As the dust cleared, Shin Uchiha Jr. lied unconscious due to heavy burns courtesy of Sasuke, and Shin Uchiha Sr. lay haplessly on the crater made by Sakura unconscious, drooling blood from his mouth. What do you think you're doing to my husband and beloved daughter? Asked Sakura angrily, clutching her fist. All in all, it was amazing. And everyone in the room agreed. That is why everyone stayed silent. Because their brains tried to register what exactly transpired. Sakura stopped crying. 3 seconds passed. Everyone looked at Sakura, who herself blinked in shock. Jiraiya's hands inched towards his torso reflexively where Tsunade punched him senseless. Just in one punch, huh? Said Jiraiya, feeling Shin Sr.'s pain. Holy shit, shouted Kiba. Damn girl, that was awesome, said Suma, praising the future fangirl who definitely was no longer one. So you really became her disciple, said Tenten, amazed at her strength. Awesome, Sakura-chan, said Naruto with stars in his eyes. This is bad. I need to stop acting stupid in front of her. Otherwise, she will destroy me, Dadbao, thought Naruto on the inside. However, said Sasuke, approving Sakura's strength in future. Maybe future Sakura was worth it. No, she was awesome. She is definitely worth as a partner. I did that, said Sakura in surprise. Such youthful punch you delivered, Sakura-san, said Guy. This is the power of your youth, Sakura-san, to take down a shinobi of such strength just in one punch. I must train harder to achieve that strength, said Lee with fire in his eyes. Impressive, as expected of someone who was trained by a legendary Sannin, said Shino. Shibi nodded. Hiruzen smiled at Sakura. Kakashi I smiled. This must have taken considerable amount of chakra control. Not even I could hope to do this. Is she really that talented? Thought Kurenai in shock. Troublesome. I knew she was troublesome, but apparently she will become more troublesome, said Shikamaru, sighing. No way, said Ino. Ha! Take that, Ino pig. This is why Sasuke-kun chose me, right? Asked Sakura with stars in her eyes as she managed to recover quickly. Sasuke again. I twitched in annoyance. Well, I'm sure I'm stronger than you, and who likes a girl who has the strength of a gorilla anyway, said Ino. Well, better than your ugly pig figure, I guess, said Sakura. Huh, says the one with the ugly forehead, said Ino, retorting back. Ino pig, said Sakura, butting heads with Ino. Forehead girl, said Ino, striking back as sparks flew between them. Everyone's sweat dropped. Way to ruin an awesome moment, I guess, said Asuma. She still has a long way to go, said Tenzo. A very long way. My girl too, I guess, said Inoichi, seeing her daughter and her rival blatantly oblivious to the conversation around them. Ma, that is why it is the future, said Kakashi. How did she become this powerful in the future? Scratch that. Why did I marry her anyway? But still, I haven't seen anyone outside my clan so such strength, said Choji in amazement. That really was something, Sakura-san. Unlike me, you are actually strong, said Hinata quietly so nobody except her team heard her. How is it possible for a civilian-born fangirl to show such strength? She became the top kunoichi only because of her grades. I thought she was just a dead weight, but why? Thought Neji, silently looking down on the ground. Damn, I'm so jealous, thought Tenten. Alright, calm down girls, said Hiruzen, instantly stopping the now embarrassed girls. So, who the hell are these guys? Asked Sakura, looking at her former team members. Asking that after finishing them, you really are going to become Tsunade version 2 inches, said Jiraiya, grimacing at Sakura. We're about to figure it out. What are you doing here, too? Asked Sasuke, removing the projectile stuck in his body. Naruto stood up with the katana in his gut. I'm here too, you know, said Naruto. Some things never change, I guess, said Kakashi, smiling at his cute little genins. Despite everything that happened, everyone was now relaxed. Hey, I know this is a great moment and all, but with that katana in his gut, shouldn't he die soon enough, said Shikamaru. Oh no, we completely forgot about that. How unyouthful, said Lee. Heal him, girl, said Tenten. Why yeah, said Sakura. What the heck are these people? Asked Sarada as Sakura walked towards them. That's what we would like to know, said Kiba. Are you okay, Naruto? Asked Sakura, smiling. Yeah, like he has a katana stuck in his gut, of course he is okay, right? Said Jiraiya sarcastically. Yeah, said Naruto and slowly pulled the katana out of his body. I'll heal up soon enough, said Naruto. Huh, for real? Thought Sarada shocked. Oh, okay, said Jiraiya sheepishly. Then why the hell were we so worried? Asked Shikaku. Wait, you can heal automatically too, said Asuma incredulously. The Kyuubi, I should have known, thought Kakashi sighing. Sasuke had a smirk on his face and Sakura smiled. I want that kind of powers too, said Kiba whining but was stopped from a glare from Shino. As Naruto said, his injuries were healing. The surroundings changed and the Kyuubi was now behind Naruto. Everyone in the room stiffened. Why the hell I am helping this brat future me? Thought Kurama in the present. The Kyuubi, said Hiashi. Kurama folded his arms and looked at Naruto. So much fuss over something like this. Your battle senses have dulled. So sad, said Kurama. I knew it, that's why you weren't able to dodge the blade Jano, said Jiraiya. Huh, what you pervert, said Naruto. Stop calling me a pervert damn brat, said Jiraiya annoyed at his godson. Ah come on, said Naruto scratching his cheek. I still can't believe that raging monster is now your friend, said Kurenai. Don't worry, you are not the only one Kurenai, said Sum. Hey, guess I'm that awesome, said Naruto. Don't let it go over your head, said Sasuke. He is right Naruto, you are such a dork, you are easily influenced, said Sakura. Really though, that was his power toned down. Exactly how strong is this team, thought Shikamaru as he watched Team 7 chatting together. However, it's over, said Naruto looking at the fallen Shin Uchiha. His chakra hand emerged and surged forward, splitting in two and grabbing both of them. Sakura then looked around and smiled at Sasuke. Oh yeah, this is your first time meeting in years, said Jiraiya. What are you going to him? Asked Tenten. Sakura blushed and looked at Sasuke who ignored her and looked at the screen. She walked forward, and past Sasuke and went towards Sarada who looked down in fear and shame. No way. You are going to ignore Sasuke-kun, said Ino. But why? Asked Sakura surprised. Others smiled however. Sasuke himself had a small smile in his face. Sasuke Uchiha who never smiled, clearly he preferred the adult version of Sakura. She has matured well, thought Kakashi. However Sakura hugged Sarada surprising her. Thank goodness, you're okay, said Sakura smiling. A mother first huh, said Tenten. Yeah, I guess, said Sakura smiling. Even then, don't ignore Sasuke-kun, said Ino huffing but had a smile on her face. Huh, said Sarada surprised. Sasuke looked at them as Sakura released the hug and rubbed her head gently, before turning around and coming towards him. That was a lovely moment, said Hinata smiling. Team 8 nodded. Sakura stopped behind Sasuke. I'm sorry, I thought I'd made things clear to Sarada, but, said Sakura apologizing as Sarada hugged herself and looked on. No, it's my fault, you don't need to apologize. But said Sasuke as Sarada looked a bit sewn again. Ah, said almost all of the kunoichi. Hey, looks like even the most stoic of people can show emotion like love after all, said Shikamaru. Sakura was blushing as Ino looked on in jealousy. Shoji like a smart man this time moved towards Asuma. Said Sasuke. What's that supposed to mean? And stop flirting in front of me damn it, shouted Naruto at the screen accusing the adult Sasuke and adult Sasuke. Kiba didn't comment and only narrowed his eyes on the adult Sasuke. Sarada slowly stepped back not noticing. Be careful, said Sakura. Damn it, isn't that the creature with the Mangekyo, said Sasuke. Naruto pulled them closer with his chakra hand, Shin's eye moved a bit. Chocho who was still hiding narrowed her eyes. Again, damn it, said Asuma. And this time it's the child, said Kurenai. Sarada, shouted Chocho as her eyes bulged open. Said Sarada as the creature had appeared beside her. It opened his eyes and used his jutsu. A black vortex was formed and everything was being pulled closer to it. Naruto's chakra arms were torn off, freeing both the Shin Uchiha. Naruto quickly noticed the jutsu as well. I'm taking you along as well, said the creature engulfing Sarada as she was closer to the teleportation jutsu. No, not again, said Sakura. What's going on? Asked Sarada, surprised as she looked around, unable to free herself. Sarada! Shouted Sakura and jumped in the vortex while pushing Sarada away. No, Sakura-chan, said Naruto. Forehead girl, why did you do that? Said Ino in worry. But Sarada is okay, said Sakura, obviously worried. And now her as well. Leave my team alone, bastard, said Kakashi, enraged. Transportation, said Sasuke, surprised. Mom, shouted Sarada and reached for Sakura's hand. Reach her, said Hinata without stuttering in worry. Sakura extended her arm towards her daughter as well. Their hands were about to meet as they struggled harder. It was inches away from meeting. Yes, come on, said Choji. But at that moment the portal disappeared. Mom, shouted Sarada as it completely closed off. Damn it, shouted Naruto. Sasuke punched the ground hard. Jiraiya-sama, can you please locate this guy after everything is over? I guess he is around Orochimaru, said Kakashi. Okay, but you are worrying too much, said Jiraiya. Huh, what are you talking about, you pervert? Sakura-chan was kidnapped, Dadbao, said Naruto angrily. He is right, said Kiba. Our friend is in danger. What do you mean to not worry, said Shikamaru. Yes, this is not something a youthful person will do, said Lee. Don't turn on me, said Jiraiya. Sakura herself was quite nervous. I mean, she is Tsunade's apprentice, you know. There is no way she will kick the bucket just like that, Jano, said Jiraiya, scratching his hair. Yes, after all she has that jutsu to rely on if she is truly in danger, said Tenten. What are you talking about, Tenten? Asked Neji. Genins, let's calm down and watch what's going on. We are quite pissed about this too. That asshole attacked our future Hokage and 2 Konoha shinobis. He also attacked 2 civilians, said Sum, and the rest of the clan heads agreed. Both of them were heirs of a clan. We are very much displeased about this. But let's see what happens. Jiraiya-sama is right, said Choza. The portal opened in another dimension, in a medical ward. Sakura arrived there looking confused. However, she was quickly surrounded by an armed army of Shin Uchiha Jr. Shin Uchiha Sr. looked on smugly, sitting on a bed, too injured to stand. Cold sweat dropped down her face and Sakura smiled. Looks like I'm right in the heart of the enemy territory, huh? Asked Sakura. And the video ended, said Hiruzen. Damn it all, said Kakashi. Sakura gulped fearfully, almost afraid to watch the next part. Damn it. Please be safe, Sakura, thought Ino, clicking her teeth in frustration. To the next one then, said Hiruzen. Kakashi nodded gravely, looking uncharacteristically serious for the moment. Play, said Hiruzen. Wait, how are you controlling this cube anyway, Hokage-sama, said Shikaku. Oh, said everyone in surprise. How are they doing this? You are asking this to me now, thought Hiruzen, sweat dropping. Pause, said Hiruzen. Ahem, right, this cube is designed to respond to my chakra. I realized some things after spending a year with this. It has a story mode where it shows everything and manual mode where it shows things we want to see the way it is set. I can also change the user of this cube with my permission. This is very convenient actually, said the professor. You realize this just in a year, thought everyone, actually amazed. He managed to decipher things from a device nobody knows off by himself. That's to be expected of the professor. Can we begin now? Asked Kakashi irritably. My rival, to see you get so worked up, thought Guy in worry. Hiruzen nodded. Naruto's eyes had an orange pigment around it. As he opened his eyes, one could see the toad-like eyeballs. So, this is your sage mode, said Jiraiya, praising it. It looks pretty cool, said Kiba. It's no use, said Naruto, and his eyes turned back to normal. They either went really far away, or escaped inside a barrier. I can't sense Sakura-chan's chakra at all, said Naruto. You are a sensor as well, said Choji. Sage mode allows you do this sort of stuff, said Jiraiya. Sarada, said Cho-Cho in worry as Sasuke's daughter closed her eyes in worry. Mom, said Sarada. Sakura was in Father Shin's hideout. She was glaring at Shin, who was lying in a bed due to his grievous injuries. Don't take your eyes off her, said Father Shin towards all other junior Shin Uchiha who were surrounding Sakura with their large tri-shuriken blade in their hands. Yes, father, said all of them. Sakura tensed. They took a step closer towards her. Please behave, you are not of Uchiha blood, but we can still use you, said Father Shin. So they want to lure Sasuke to them, said Shikaku. What do they want from me? Asked Sasuke, looking at Shin with a hateful glare. Your eyes probably. They are not subtle about it, said Kakashi. That's the only reason why I'm letting you live, said Father Shin. Letting her live? Brat, this girl can utterly destroy your hideout, especially when you are out of commission, said Jiraiya, snorting. Why are you that much confident in me? Asked a meek Sakura. Not in you, young lady, but in the seal you have in your forehead, said Jiraiya. Is it that much special? Asked Ino. You have no idea, said Inoichi, her father who once fought alongside the female Sannin. Father Shin winced in pain while talking as he brought his hand close to her chest. You didn't hold back, did you? Asked Shin. I feel you there, brother, thought Jiraiya as he again brought his hand closer to the life-threatening wound he suffered from his former female teammate. It's because you tried to kill my husband and child, as well as my dear friend, said Sakura. At least, she isn't in the danger of being killed yet, said Kakashi. But how will the seventh and the others manage to find them? They look like they are in a different dimension, said Hiashi. Indeed, this is worrying, said Shibi. That child needs medical attention soon or he'll be in danger. I'll help, said Sakura as she looked at the burned to half-death junior Shin. Honestly, nobody was still coming in terms with the future Sakura. She looked so confident and more like a kunoichi, unlike the fangirl they knew. Nobody was as surprised as Sakura herself. She already had confidence issues and the wave mission didn't help but remind her of her weakness again. She was looking at her future self in awe. You don't want to lose your child, do you? Asked Sakura. A great medic indeed, not caring whether they are enemies or allies. Your future self does remind me of Tsunade Hime a lot, said Hiruzen, praising the girl. Sakura blushed. My child, started Shin. Don't misunderstand, they are clones created by culturing my teeth and nerves, said future Shin as Sakura listened, a bit shocked. Clones, said Choza. Is such a thing even possible? Asked Asuma, shocked. Sound like something my student would do, said Hiruzen sadly. Technology has advanced to a great extent in the future, said Hiashi. Clones, that's just like him, said Sakura. Shin laughed evilly. Yes, that's right, my master was Orochimaru, said Father Shin as Sakura's eyes narrowed as she let the information sink. I thought so, said Hiruzen. How far he has fallen, said Jiraiya solemnly. Shin used his prowess to control some of his projectiles and brought them above his injured clone. What are you? Said Sakura in surprise. One of the knives cut into the flesh of the child and opened his chest. Stop it, said Sakura, but the child was beyond saving as his young life perished away in front of her eyes. She averted her eyes from the cruel display of fatherly care. What the hell? Asked Tenten in shock. He killed him, said Lee, horrified. Orochimaru? Asked Sarada. Yes, Kakashi-sensei said the same thing. He felt the enemy this time could be connected to Orochimaru, said Naruto. Always the sinister one, said Hiruzen. Who's that? Asked Cho-Cho, eating chips nonchalantly. I've heard of him before. He's a notorious criminal who tried to destroy Hidden Leaf Village a long time ago, said Sarada. He did what? How dare he try to destroy the very same place where he grew up, said Hiashi with venom in his tongue. Is this related to the Chunin exams taking place in the future? Asked Jiraiya. Hiruzen nodded solemnly. You know how it ends then, said Jiraiya. Indeed, said Hiruzen softly, knowing how his journey will end in the hands of his own students. No, the criminal's hands. He's a tremendously dangerous individual, said Naruto, looking weary. You have no idea, child, thought mostly every adult in the room. That guy who called himself Shin Uchiha, said Sasuke, drawing everyone's attention. Huh? Asked Sarada. His left arm was implanted with multiple Sharingan. The only one capable of doing something like that is Orochimaru, said Sasuke. So then, Sarada's mom was taken to this Orochimaru guy's place, said Cho-Cho. If it's true, then I will kick his, said Naruto. Hold your horse, kid, he has already kicked your once, said Choji. Hey, my future self is surely stronger than that snake lady man guy, said Naruto. Whatever you say, said Tenten, still unsure. No, that's not possible. We have Leaf Shinobi keeping strict surveillance on him, said Naruto. I don't believe he would be involved in this, Yano, said Naruto. Why not kill him outright? His crimes are already piling up, and he committed invasion against the village. A monster like him shouldn't exist in this world, said Tenzo. I'm sure the future has an answer to that, said Kakashi. For his sake, I hope so, said Hiruzen. However, in order to track Shin's whereabouts, we need to find all we need from Orochimaru. Let's head to his research lab, said Sasuke, turning around. Dad, shouted Sarada, stopping him. Sarada, said Cho-Cho, surprised. What is it? Asked Sasuke, turning back. How can you be so calm? Aren't you worried about Mom? Asked Sarada angrily. Hey, Sarada, Sasuke is, said Naruto, trying to tell her that he was trying his best to keep his calm, but Sasuke beat him to it, albeit not in a gentle way. Personal feelings only get in the way of the mission. If you intend on becoming a shinobi, remember that, said Sasuke. Sarada growled angrily and was about to retort, but a packet of chips was thrust in between the Uchihas, shocking them both. I only have lightly salted chips left, but, said Cho-Cho. I totally hate intense heavy situations like this. The only thing heavy should be my weight. You can do this, my delicate heart of glass, thought Cho-Cho. Cho-Cho, said Sarada, smiling. Well done. We don't need more of your introverted speeches, said Tenten. Yeah, they were amusing in the beginning, but now I'm starting to feel pity for your kid, said Asuma. I can't believe I'm saying this, but you should have let Naruto handle this. He was doing far better job in handling her than how you are doing, said Kiba. Sasuke himself repressed an urge to sigh at his future self's actions. He surely couldn't be that bad. Tem, even in the future you didn't change your ways, said Naruto. Sasuke glared at him. Alright, do the two of you want to come with us? Asked the seventh Hokage. Both of looked quite a bit shocked. Naruto, what are you? Asked Sasuke. They came after Sarada too. It's safer to stay together, said Naruto, smiling confidently. Do what you want, said Sasuke, and walked away. It's logical. There's no reason to believe your daughter would be safe. Despite having Sakura-san as a hostage, he can still go after her for her bloodline limit, said Shino. Yes, this is the best option they have at the moment, said Shikaku. Even then, this is not a field trip. We are talking about his hideout. Are you sure they will be safe? Said Tenzo. My awesomeness knows no bounds, Yano. I'm sure I can protect the Tem along them even if he becomes an extra baggage, said Naruto. The only useless creature out there is Udobi, said Sasuke. Still, I don't understand why he is pardoned, mused Kurenai. Besides, we may be able to see those people in the photo at Orochimaru's, said Naruto in Sarada's ear. What? Asked Sarada, surprised. Naruto nodded. Okay, it's decided. We will set out at daybreak, said Naruto. Your teammates from Akatsuki, huh? Said Shikamaru. The scene shifted to Shin's hideout. Everyone tensed, remembering Sakura was still a hostage. Using his prowess, Shin slowly took out the organ of the recently deceased clone needed for his surgery. How horrible, said Sakura, looking away. The Konoha 12 faces paled considerably. Some of them barely resisted the urge to puke. Even if they are clones, didn't you raise them like your own sons? Asked Sakura. They're just my stand-ins for my organs. Nothing more, nothing less, said Shin. What did the bastard just say? Asked Naruto, angry at his words. Naruto, calm down, said Kakashi. So, they are just tools for him, huh? What does he think of human life, that bastard? Said Naruto, snarling. He can sort of understand how the clones feel. They both are tools in a sense, thought Kakashi. In Naruto-kun, thought Hinata in worry. He placed the organ on a tray and moved it close to him. There's no need to grieve. Living creatures don't truly die, said Shin. What do you mean? Asked Sakura. Without a doubt, the body of a living creature decomposes within time. However, genes through reproductive cells survive forever without change in the shape of progeny. That is the system we call life, said Shin. Yeah, that's basic science, bruh, we all know it. Say something new, said Kiba. What is that which we call death? It's merely the expiration of the disposable corporeal vessel, said Shin. The hell? Said Lee. You're wrong thinking the body is just a vessel, said Sakura. That's where one's feelings and will reside. What exists between parent and a child is more than a mere gene transmission, much more, said Sakura. Then she remembered the time when she brutally punched the innocent ground, making Sarada cry. She now realized it's the same for Sarada and Sasuke despite them never meeting even once. And she was starting to sound like a hypocrite. Thus, she gritted her teeth. Kakashi placed a hand on her shoulder, eye smiling. Genes are the essence of life. Weaker genes perish, and stronger genes hybridize to create stronger beings. That is evolution, said Shin. Are all the evil scientists are messed up in the head like him? Said Naruto. That is why they are mad or evil, Dobi, said Sasuke, smirking. And you went to the evilest one willingly, said Naruto, forcing Sasuke's mouth close. You don't understand at all. What should be important as a parent, said Sakura. Shin clenched his fist in anger. For evolution, said Shin, raising his clenched his fist. Conflict is essential in the further selection of superior genes, completed Shin. Through countless battles, new ninjutsu and other arts were developed rapidly, and strong shinobi were selected, said Shin. A figure of Hashirama Senju, Madara Uchiha, Tobirama Senju, Tsunade Senju, Kakashi Hatake and lastly Naruto Uzumaki appeared on the screen displaying some of their signatures. They fought for peace, idiot. What a twisted bastard, said Jiraiya. Like master, like student, I guess, said Hiruzen. In the past, the organization known as Akatsuki stirred up such conflict. For the sake of human evolution, I will revive the Akatsuki, and carry out the wishes of Itachi Uchiha, said Shin with a smile on his face. Your brother is dumb too if he is like, started Naruto but was stopped by a death glare from his rival making him gulp in fear. His undivided attention went to the screen. But if we were to believe this idiot out here, Akatsuki could be far more dangerous than we pegged them to be, said Shikaku. Meanwhile, outside of the hideout of Orochimaru, the Hokage and his comrades stood beside a man. It's been a while, Yamato Taicho, said Naruto. It's me, said Tenzo. So, I'm keeping a watch on him myself, said Tenzo, looking pleased. Why do I call you Yamato? Is Tenzo not your name? Asked Naruto, confused. Well, Naruto, it's an air code name of some sorts, said Tenzo. Anbu, said Shikamaru, snorting. Tenzo deadpanned at him. What? It was obvious, troublesome, said Shikamaru, shrugging. Anbu, so cool, said Naruto, admiring the man who was constantly bringing them food for entertainment. How did they come to know each other? Asked Choza. Given his ability, it's not surprising. Perhaps, he was assigned to Naruto sometimes in the future, said Shikaku. You look old, said Kakashi. Tenzo shrugged. Well, I'm in the new era, I've lived long enough, said Tenzo. Please stop that, I don't want to be called Captain by the Hokage, said Yamato with a small smile on his face. I can't help it. You'll always be Yamato Taicho to me, said Naruto. We seem close, said Tenzo. Uh-huh, said Naruto. Seeing the way Naruto-kun refers to you as captain, perhaps you were his squad leader in the future, said Hiruzen. He's definitely not my dad, thought Cho-Cho. Ino failed to stop his laughter seeing Tenzo's reaction to Cho-Cho's comment. Naruto laughed out loud. Tenzo blanched at the little girl on the screen and then sighed out depressed. Not so young anymore, Tenzo, said Kakashi. Unlike you, senpai, thought Tenzo, glaring daggers at the man who again went back to his porn. Sarada looked at the photo in her hands. So they're Orochimaru's partners. But why's dad in the photo with them? Thought Sarada. Sasuke tried his best to ignore all the glares and looked on the screen neutrally as always. Cho-Cho, who was behind her, yawned as Sarada was in deep thought. Sarada looked in front again. I guess I really don't know anything about dad, thought Sarada. Tenten felt conflicted about it. She was an orphan, while as a shinobi she can understand Sasuke's position in the future, but it hurt her to see Sarada like that. Thus she had a conflicted expression on her face. Lord Sixth filled me up for the most part, but I'm sorry, this is my mission and I can't leave this spot, said Yamato. I understand Sasuke will lead from here, said Naruto. Follow me, said Sasuke and sprinted forward, followed by Naruto and the kids. Instantly the tension in the room increased tenfold. After all, they were visiting Konoha's one of the most heinous criminals' hideout. We should acquire as much information we can get, said Hiruzen. I know, said Jiraiya. While walking towards Orochimaru's base, Sarada kept glaring at her father's back. They entered Orochimaru's base. The passage was moderately dark and there were snake-shaped lanterns on the walls lighting the place with dimly yellow light. Hey Sasuke, it's not like we're going to one of your favorite restaurants here, be more on guard, will ya? Whispered Naruto to Sasuke. Sume snorted. Kid's got balls, said Sume. But that goes to show the power he possesses and his confidence in his own abilities, thought Inoichi. All four of them stopped as two figures blocked their path in front. Damn it, see, said Naruto. Been a while, Sasuke, said Suigetsu. This guy looks familiar, thought Shikamaru. Sarada's eyes widened in surprise. The guy's in the photo, thought Sarada. Ah, the adult version, thought Shikamaru. This isn't the kind of place you bring kids for a field trip, said Suigetsu. I know, right? You can't be too wary of that snake, said Tenzo. The Hokage, said Jugo, taking notice of Naruto. Naruto still blushed. He still couldn't believe that he actually managed to achieve his dream. Hold on, this guy, I remember now. His data was entered just some days ago into the bingo book, said Inoichi. He is in the current bingo book, said Asuma, a bit surprised. According to the timeline, he should be about 13 or 14, Inoichi, said Choza. Someone that young? Wait, of course, said Hiyashi, realizing who Inoichi was talking about. Jugo of the scales, of course it's him. His face seemed familiar from the beginning to me, said Inoichi. Leave it to you to remember every single person in the bingo book, said Shikaku, drawled. Jiraiya, said Sarutobi. I know, I need to find out whether this guy is working for Orochimaru currently or not, said Jiraiya. If he is not, then we need him on our side, said Kakashi. Well, you found better teammates, wouldn't you agree, traitor? Asked Kiba angrily. Kiba-kun, see, calm down please, said Hinata, putting her hand comfortingly on his shoulder. Sasuke ignored him. Despite Naruto and Sakura's saddened looks, he ignored them. Although he did feel remorse for doing this to them in the future, he was interested in the strengths of his so-called new team in the future. Good timing. Take us to him, said Sasuke. Huh, hold on, are you ordering us around? Asked Suigetsu. Shall I take you to him? Asked Jugo. Well, they sure have contrasting personalities, said Ino. Sasuke. Looks like that won't be necessary, said Naruto. Footsteps approached them. The tension in the room increased again. He is coming, said Jiraiya grimacing. Oh my, we have an unusual visitor, said Orochimaru standing in front of them as Sasuke glared at him. Orochimaru, said Sasuke. Sarada gulped. Orochimaru, so this is the person, said Sarada softly. Wait, what the hell, he looks just like the one we saw in the Chunin exams video, said Tenten. This has to be a transformation, right? Said Choza. Hiruzen grimaced, remembering how Orochimaru invented this jutsu and its process. You know something about this, said Jiraiya. Yes, and unfortunately it's not a transformation jutsu, said Hiruzen. An audible gasp was released from everyone except Naruto from the room. So, what does this mean? Asked Naruto, scratching his head, not understanding what everyone was so shocked about. This means, Naruto, that Orochimaru might have actually found his way to immortality, said Kakashi. What? For real? Said Naruto, now feeling shocked. How is this possible? What process did that snake use, Lord Hokage? Asked Sume. You will see it when the time comes, there is no need to spoil everything now. But trust me, it won't be a good sight to behold, said Hiruzen. Every adult grimaced at that. How unyouthful, muttered Guy. Hey, you look younger than before, said Naruto. You should know me by now, so don't keep prodding at it, would you? Said Orochimaru nonchalantly. What? That bastard, said Naruto, snarling. He's different from what I imagined, said Sarada, a bit bewildered. Cho turned to Sarada. Hey, so if this person is my parent, would he be my mom or dad? Asked Cho. Which one, Sarada? Asked Cho. Huh, said Sarada, not knowing what to answer to this out-of-the-box question. Everyone's sweat dropped at that. Is she for real? Asked Tenten. Neji wasn't speaking for a long time. Just observing the situation, he still had trouble believing that Naruto managed to change his fate. Way to go, Choji, your daughter sure knows how to ruin the tension, said Shikamaru. Choji chuckled. My wife was kidnapped by a man who seemed like an underling of yours. If you're up to something, spill it now, said Sasuke. Yeah, give us back Sakura-chan, said Naruto. Yosh, nodded Lee. I wonder, have I done something suspicious? Asked Orochimaru with a smile on his face. What's the watcher outside for? Asked Orochimaru. A tick mark appeared on Tenzo's forehead. How dare he, said Tenzo. Ma, calm down, said Kakashi with an eye smile. Then explain who the man who calls himself Shin Uchiha, said Sasuke, taking a step towards Orochimaru. Orochimaru looked taken aback for a moment. Then his smile returned again. Let's go to another room. Come along, said Orochimaru. Of course, he would have to be connected, said Jiraiya, sighing. The room they went to had many test tubes filled with some kind of chemical-induced water. All of them had babies inside. Shin, I haven't heard that name in a while. He's gone off on his own already, but he was one of my old experiments, said Orochimaru. This Shin guy, I will try to see if I can find more about him, said Jiraiya. Danzo's silhouette appeared on the screen with him having a whitish-gray colored hand which was supposed to be broken. What's more, that hand had Sharingan embedded in them. Danzo Shimura, the man you all fought, his right arm came from Shin, said Orochimaru. What? Asked Hiruzen. Why the hell does that man have so many Sharingan on his hand, said Sasuke angrily. But Danzo, he is, said Kurenai. You know of him, sensei? Asked Shino. Who doesn't know of him? He is a war hero and a current counselor of the Hokage, said Asuma. Wait, but didn't the cube say the man you fought, said Shikamaru. Don't tell me he became an enemy of Konoha, said Choza. Well, knowing him it wouldn't be unexpected, but, thought Tenzo inwardly. Sensei, thought Jiraiya, sadly looking at his mentor. Hiruzen looked downwards, clenching his fist tightly. Danzo, did you truly lose yourself? Thought Hiruzen with a broken expression. It was hard for Jiraiya to see his sensei like this. First Orochimaru and now even you, thought Hiruzen. How are they gaining so many Sharingan to begin with, said Shikaku as realization dawned upon him. My brethren, said Sasuke horrified. For the first time, he had shown an expression like this publicly. Realization dawned upon everyone, and some genin needed to keep the food they ate in their stomach as they covered their mouth with their hands. Could it be that they are using the dead bodies of the Uchiha in secret for experiment, said Inoichi thoughtfully. Sasuke slammed his fist on the ground as he unconsciously released killer intent, scaring Sakura off. Tem, said Naruto as even he was unnerved. I'm going to kill that bastard, said Sasuke. Well, this proves that Danzo and Orochimaru were allies, said Sume with a scary glint in her eyes. No wait, we don't know whether Danzo has yet to do such things, said Hiashi. That doesn't matter. He will do it in the future. Let's kill him now, said Sasuke angrily. You went with someone who was in charge of this whole experiment in the future, Sasuke, said Kakashi. Sasuke stopped in his tracks and realized that he was being hypocritical. After this, an investigation will be launched on Danzo. We will dig out the dead Uchiha and see whether they still have their dojutsu or not. That will show us whether Danzo is loyal or not, said Hiruzen, recomposing himself. Hiruzen hoped Danzo had yet to start on his traitorous path. Because then Hiruzen could still try and show his best friend the light. But if he already had started working with Orochimaru, then Sasuke nodded, although one could easily see his anger through his expression. Damn it, muttered Sasuke. Sasuke, thought the rest of the Team 7 worriedly. That child possessed a peculiar trait where his body wouldn't reject any kind of tissue transplant. He was the optimum subject for cloning experiments, said Orochimaru. Cloning? Asked Naruto. To put it in simpler terms for you, he was like a shadow clone that never disappears, said Orochimaru. This perked Naruto's interest. Never disappears. So once you are done, what happens to them? Asked Naruto as realization dawned upon him. If you want them to disappear, your only option is to kill them, said Orochimaru without a single emotion showing on his face. What? Asked all of the genin in surprise. What did he say? Asked Naruto, snarling. He was really starting to get pissed off by this lady man. Humans aren't simple things like that, said Naruto, agitated. Yeah, said Lee. Humans are much simpler than you think. Humans are practically slaves to their genes, said Orochimaru while turning his back on Naruto. For example, take you, Sasuke-kun. The reason why your daughter looks like you is because your genes were passed on to her, said Orochimaru. Sarada was understandably a bit spooked when referred by such a heinous criminal. Everything about her is simply data that was recorded into her genes, said Orochimaru. Genes? Thought Sarada. Yeah, Mr. Obvious, we know science, said Kiba, deadpanning. Like, what the hell does that prove anyway? That doesn't mean you can kill humans. Even if they are clones, they have feelings as well, said Choji. How one comes up with inhuman conclusion like cloning and killing humans just from something like genes, is he a psychopath or what, said Shikamaru. Well, he wasn't, everyone here in the room knew it. Like master, like student, I guess, said Jiraiya, sighing, remembering Shin's words to Sakura before. Hey, that's not a nice way to put it, said Naruto. Sasuke stopped Naruto and stepped forward. Why does he call himself an Uchiha? Asked Sasuke. Oh, that's just him proclaiming that himself. Granted, he is a reproduction, but as someone who possesses the Sharingan, he was obsessed with the Uchiha name. In particular, to your late brother, Itachi Uchiha, said Orochimaru. Nani? Not only that guy is a fake, he is obsessed with him, said Sasuke, growling. So, we have Uchiha fanboys in the future, huh? Said Jiraiya, snorting. I see, I understand Shin's background now, said Sasuke. Do you know his whereabouts? Asked Sasuke. Oh my, such one-sided questioning. You've become quite shameless, said Orochimaru jokingly. Sasuke narrowed his eyes. Seeing that, Orochimaru's demeanor changed as well. Well, anyway, it would benefit me as well if the leaf were to capture that troublesome Shin, said Orochimaru. I still don't understand why you didn't just kill him, said Tenzo looking at Naruto. Besides, I kind of do owe you one, right Naruto-kun? Asked Orochimaru. What's this? Asked Sum. How is the child doing? Well, I hope, asked Orochimaru. Yeah, the kid seems to be doing well, said Naruto with a smile on his face. Really? That's great, said Orochimaru with a smile on his face. Orochimaru slowly started walking. Wait, what child? Asked Jiraiya looking at Naruto. I don't know Dadbao, said Naruto. Why will you willingly let a subject of Orochimaru enter the hidden leaf in the first place? Asked Tenzo. That's not a good decision, said Hiashi. Like I said, ask the me on the screen Dadbao, said Naruto pointing to the Hokage version of himself. I'll explain more, come along, said Orochimaru. As the whole group was walking alongside Orochimaru, Sarada started a small talk with Suigetsu. You are all my dad's former partners, right? Asked Sarada whispering. I guess, said Suigetsu. Another glare from everyone, and yet Sasuke had yet to be unnerved. Then, said Sarada and stopped Suigetsu and showed the picture to him. Can you tell me where this woman is? Asked Sarada. Oh, Karen, she's at a different hideout. She's not here, said Suigetsu. So, the girl's name is Karen, huh? It would be great if we can get this white-haired boy's name as well, said Jiraiya. I see, said Sarada sounding a little disappointed. Then, could I ask you one other favor? Asked Sarada. This is stupid. There is no way Sasuke-kun will cheat on me, said Sakura. Yeah, he is not that bad, despite his questionable decisions in the future, said Kakashi. Said Sasuke. Naruto noticed the both of them talking. Shouted Suigetsu looking surprised. No way. I didn't know Sasuke was that much of a scummy bastard, said Suigetsu. We didn't as well, said Kiba looking at the future traitor, giving him the dirty look until he noticed his mother looking at him angrily and stopped. And then appeared a picture of young Sasuke and young Karen looking all hot and ready for some action. Immediately, Ino and Sakura had a nosebleed looking at Sasuke the stripper. Well, he looks hot, said Tenten with a small blush. Damn it. Why Dobi? Asked Naruto jealous. What is this jutsu? Why is it that my power of youth doesn't attract girls and only good-looking guys are getting them all, said Lee. Lee, unfortunately that is the only thing hard work can't beat, said Guy. Wait a minute, why is that girl clinging to my man, shouted Sakura. You mean my husband Billboard Brow, said Ino. Just drop it, said Asuma as he separated both of the fangirls from cat fighting. Could Karen actually have, said Suigetsu as he remembered the old days. Well, right now, it's still only a possibility, said Sarada. A genetic test would show whose child I'm, right? Asked Sarada. Honestly, this is good for her. The test would be negative and her mind will be at ease, said Jiraiya. You should take better care of her, said Tenten to Sasuke who didn't say anything. Yeah said Naruto. That's funny. I could have sworn it was around here. Found it, said Suigetsu smiling as he searched for something in the drawer. There was an umbilical cord. Then Suigetsu took a sample of Sarada's DNA from her tooth. All right, we'll compare the genes that we harvested from you with the genes from Karen's umbilical cord, said Suigetsu as he proceeded with the test. Sarada nodded worriedly. Here we go, said Suigetsu and started the test. Analyzing. Perfect match. The room fell silent, the atmosphere turned chilly quickly. Sakura slowly brought her hands to her face and cupped it disbelievingly. Her whole body was trembling from shock. All the present members in the room except for Naruto looked at Sasuke disbelievingly. Kakashi looked at Sasuke in a disapproving manner and Jiraiya sighed. Both the green spandex-wearing warriors had, unyouthful, written on their face. Tenten was fuming, and Naruto, well as always the last one to take notice didn't find anything wrong, blissfully unaware at what the scene has implied continued smiling happily. No, thought Sasuke, and for the first time in a while he showed an expression of disbelief himself and cursed his older self for his stupid decisions. Sarada looked on at the green light in horror. Seems your mom is definitely Karen, said Suigetsu. Wait, what Datbeo? Said Naruto confused. As Suigetsu was talking, he was unaware that Hokage Naruto listening on their conversation. Sarada looked at the screen as her whole world was slowly crumbling down. She was starting to remember what her mother told her whenever she was longing for her father. Your dad and I are connected through our feelings, so don't worry. Naruto slowly started looking around and noticed everyone's gloomy expression and definitely put two and two together. Naruto's expression slowly changed into anger. He hissed and then grabbed Sasuke by his collar. Tem, how dare you treat Sakura-chan like this? She deserved better, said Naruto. Sasuke didn't say anything and looked down. Hiruzen paused the screen and sighed as he watched his predecessor's son. Say something, Tem. Why are you silent now, Datbeo? Asked Naruto, shaking his rival, and still Sasuke didn't say anything. Seeing this, Naruto was about to punch Sasuke, but Kakashi stopped him. Stop it, Naruto. We are not alone here, said Kakashi. But sensei, said Naruto and was trying to retort. Naruto, please stop now. You don't need to hurt Sasuke-kun for my sake, said Sakura, looking down on the ground and was almost about to sob. But Sakura-chan, said Naruto and let go of Sasuke, who straightened his collar back up and looked away from his team. I mean, it could only be a dream, right? Sasuke-kun would never acknowledge someone like me anyway, said Sakura. Sasuke flinched after hearing this and he trembled a bit but quickly composed himself. Don't say that, Sakura. Don't be so harsh on yourself, said Ino as she left her team and quickly went towards Sakura and tried to comfort her. Naruto looked at Sasuke angrily, but one look from Kakashi stopped him from going any further. There might be other complications that we are not aware of, because of that I think we should see the ending and then judge the Uchiha, said Shino, happy that no one interrupted him this time. What's there to judge? It was already a deal when we learned that he is a traitor, and now he pulls this shit. Why should we give him the benefit of doubt? Ouch, said Kiba, but before he could finish Kurenai bonked him on the head. What a drag, said Shikamaru, sighing. Hiruzen restarted the cube. Well, you have similar glasses too, said Suigetsu. Just read the atmosphere and stop, why don't you, said Sume. But Suigetsu stopped as he saw tears fall down Sarada's cheeks. Anyway, I gotta go, said Suigetsu, panicking, and ran out of there as fast as he could, leaving the girl alone to vent and process the heartbreaking truth that she wished she had never known. Seriously, you are going to leave her alone there, said Choji. Well, it's not his business anyway, said Choza. What an unyouthful fellow, said Guy. As Suigetsu walked out of the room, he saw Naruto leaning behind the door. He rubbed his forehead and talked in an apologetic tone. I kinda feel like I did something I shouldn't have, said Suigetsu. Since the old days, you guys have always messed things up. You idiot, said Naruto, frustrated. Well, when Naruto of all people tells you have messed up, then it means you have indeed messed up, big time at that, said Kiba dryly. Isn't Sasuke the one at fault? Said Suigetsu, dodging his mistake. Did you even know about this? Asked Suigetsu. Of course not. Sasuke, that bastard, said Naruto angrily. Well, if the Hokage of all people doesn't know about this, then there is no chance of this being some confidential stuff, said Choji. It's a simple case of infidelity, huh? Said Neji, amused, finally gathering his bearings. Unless the umbilical cord itself isn't that red-haired girl's and by some stroke of luck it's Sakura's, nothing's defending you anymore, Sasuke, said Shikamaru. Sasuke just stared at the screen with an unreadable expression, but trained veterans could see how tightly he had clenched his fists in frustration. Well, you take it from here, said Suigetsu, waving at Naruto, and dipped as fast as he could. Hey, Suigetsu, wait, said Naruto to stop him, but he was already gone. Wow, He really left Naruto to take care of his mess, huh? Said Chozo with a sigh. Well, let's see how you handle this, Jano, said Jiraiya. Naruto slowly took a step towards the room. Sarada, said Naruto approaching the girl who was having a mental breakdown. We need to go and rescue your mom, right? Said Naruto. Liar, whispered Sarada. Said Naruto. You lied to me, Lord Seventh. Why do I need to go and rescue who's not even my mom? Asked Sarada angrily. Sakura couldn't stop her tears anymore and leaned into Ino's shoulders for comfort. Ino rubbed her hair to soothe her, forgetting their rivalry for the time being. Kakashi inched towards Sakura himself, his book forgotten in his pockets, and stood over them. Naruto also went towards Sakura to help her in his own way, with his stupid jokes which failed miserably as always. Sasuke was left alone by his own team. Even if the distance between them wasn't that great, it was clear that he was getting the cold shoulder from everyone in this room. I'm done with people who've lied to me, all my life, said Sarada as her eyes turned into Sharingan due to the emotional shock that she was going through. Poor girl, said Inoichi. Naruto quickly handed Sarada a mirror to show her the Sharingan that she didn't know she had. Although surprised, Sarada hanged her shoulders down looking depressed. At this point, I'd rather not look like that person at all, said Sarada. Even Sasuke couldn't help but flinch at that. What are you going to do? Asked Naruto seriously. That has nothing to do with you, Lord Seventh, said Sarada coldly and was about to walk away. But Naruto grabbed her arm to stop her. What is it? Asked Sarada annoyed. Nothing to do with me, huh? Well, it just doesn't work that way, said Naruto smiling. I've told Boruto the same thing time and time again. To a Hokage, everyone in the village is family, said Naruto. Now that's a good way to start. I'm impressed, said Jiraiya looking at young Naruto approvingly. I dunno why, but thanks pervy guy, said Naruto giving him a thumbs up. Stop calling me that Jano, said Jiraiya annoyed. So what? Isn't that just a convenient excuse? Dad's away from the village so much. He even forgot his own daughter's face, said Sarada. Many people grimaced hearing her say that. Especially the last part made some people look at Sasuke disapprovingly again. Especially the younger generation of shinobis. Sasuke himself was failing to keep his character together anymore. He was looking at the floor with genuine sadness. And Mom, she's been lying to me the whole time, said Sarada. I'm sorry, I don't know why my future self did something like that, said Sakura with a broken voice, as she spoke between sobs. It's okay Sakura-chan, we still don't know the full story right? I'm sure you have some reason why you had to lie to her, said Kakashi smiling. Yeah, Sakura-chan, said Naruto beaming at her warmly. Although everyone was giving future Sakura the benefit of doubt, no one was going to give Sasuke that. Not surprisingly, considering he was revealed to be a traitor earlier, and then this came along. Plus, we are not even related by blood at all. I know now that I don't have a real family, said Sarada sadly. So unyouthful, Sasuke-kun. You have been constantly hurting your daughter, intentionally or unintentionally, said Lee with a frown. And, you're not me, Lord Seventh. So, you can't understand what I feel in my heart, said Sarada. You and I are not family, said Sarada countering Naruto's previous statement. She tried to shake Naruto's grip off her but Naruto pulled her back again. She looked at Naruto with anger and frustration in her eyes. The scene switched back to the past where Naruto is seen sitting in a swing at the park near the academy with tears on his eyes. This is, said Naruto surprised. Then the scene switched to the part where Iruka took the Fuma Shuriken, and the tears of joy Naruto had when he was finally accepted as a citizen of Konoha by Iruka. Iruka's smiling face after that incident. Why am I remembering them all of a sudden, Dadbayo? Asked Naruto in confusion. Naruto and Iruka eating ramen in Ichiraku. Young Naruto and Sasuke arguing in the Valley of End. Pause, said Sum and Hiruzen immediately paused the screen. Did this happen already? Asked Inoichi. I don't really think this happened between them yet, said Kakashi. Naruto and Sasuke looked at the screen surprised. Yo, Naruto's bleeding man, said Kiba. Any ideas, old man, said Jiraiya. The Hokage grimaced. You will see later, said the Hokage. You already know about this, huh? Said the military advisor, Shikaku. Unfortunately, yes, said Sandame. The screen changed to show young Sasuke with 3 Tomo Sharingan and Naruto with red eyes looking at his friend. Then it changed to the future as Hokage Naruto remembered all these memories. Whatever happened between them must have had a lot of effect on Naruto, huh? Said Choji. Is that the extent of your bond with your mom and dad? Asked Naruto. Huh? Said Sarada. Bonds aren't just about history or blood. It's something much stronger, said Naruto. Then tell me, what is it? Asked Sarada frustrated. Let's see how our future Hokage handles this situation, said Jiraiya. Feelings of love, that's all you need. Nothing more, said Naruto softly. So check yourself again to see if you feel any, said Naruto. Go for it, Naruto, said Choji. Sarada looked towards the ground and contemplated what Naruto said. She remembered the time when she was sick and Sakura kept watch over her. She remembered the photos her mother had of her and her father's. Hey, when is dad coming home? Asked a cute little Sarada. He's out doing really difficult job, so he can't come home right away, said Sakura as she was doing the dishes. Ah, she's so cute when she was small, said Ino gushing. Hinata nodded in agreement. Doesn't dad care about you and me? Asked Sarada softly. What? Don't ever think that, said Sakura and looked at her. Then why doesn't he come home? Asked Sarada. Sakura kneeled down. Sarada, dad treasures us both deeply, said Sakura. Sasuke looked at Sakura in surprise, glad that someone's defending him despite everything. That's why he can't come home. You may not get it right now, but I know one day you'll understand, said Sakura at the pouting Sarada. Tears appeared on Sarada's eyes, but Sakura bear hugged her daughter. You're squishing me, mom, said Sarada. I'm sorry, I can't help it because you're so precious, said Sakura as she let go of her daughter. You guys are so cute together, said Ino as Sakura stopped crying and looked at the screen. Sakura-chan looks so beautiful with long hair, said Naruto. Mom, have you ever kissed dad? Asked Sarada. She cheered up slowly. Huh? Asked Sakura surprised as she looked up in thought and blushed. Said Naruto frustrated. Many of the Konoha 12 snickered as Sakura in their room blushed up like a storm. What's the matter? Asked Sarada as Sakura touched her forehead. Nothing. I was just remembering something even better, said Sakura. Mom, that's pervy, said Sarada flatly. Oh my, said Tenten with a hand on her mouth. Now give me all the details, said Jiraiya excitedly as he looked at the screen. And he was immediately hit by a kunai by the courtesy of Sum. Have some shame, said Sum. No, not that, said Sakura. Then tell me, what was better than a kiss? Asked Sarada excitedly. Sakura tapped Sarada's forehead with her fingers. I'll tell you next time, said Sakura. I think you'll understand when you see your dad, said Sakura. That was what Itachi did to me, thought Sasuke as he slowly clenched his fists tightly. What happened in the future? Thought Sasuke. The present Sarada cried as she remembered all her time with Sakura and said, Mom. Naruto looked over her. I guess I do wanna recue mom, said Sarada. Oh yeah? Asked Naruto. But it won't be like before, what am I supposed to do? Asked Sarada. Naruto pulled her towards him. It doesn't matter whether she's fake or real. As long as you feel the desire to save her, that's what's real, said Naruto. Let's go and rescue your mom, said Naruto. Yeah, said Sarada and turned her Sharingan off. Well done, boy, said Inoichi appraising Ly. It seems the future is safe in your hands, Naruto, said the Sandame. Truly, said Choza. Lee was crying youthfully as he looked at the screen, even Tenten had some tears on her eyes. Wow, I still can't believe how mature Naruto is, said Kiba. Yeah, I am awesome like that, said Naruto with a thumbs up. Hinata smiled and congratulated Naruto on her head, too shy to actually speak to her crush. Thank you Naruto, thank you so much, said Sakura and hugged him. Sakura-chan, said Naruto surprised. Kakashi smiled as always, even Sasuke was feeling grateful towards Naruto, not that he will ever say it. You should take lessons from Naruto and learn how to be a good father, said Shikamaru teasingly towards Sasuke. Sasuke scowled but didn't dare retort, knowing very well what his current position is in the room. Sasuke, Cho-Cho, Orochimaru, Jugo and Suigetsu were waiting for Naruto and Sarada as they came out running. Oh, there they are, said Naruto. Sarada, shouted Cho-Cho waving at her. Where have you two been? Asked Sasuke. You of all people should